Hello and welcome to the Condors Esports channel. You are here on a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday night. You know what that means. We got some League of Legends. Of course, I'm Curtis Cove Collings alongside Willow, Mute Chaos Bridges, and we got a big matchup tonight in League of Legends. Willow, I'll let you tell them.
I hate when you guys do this because my brain just blanks every time, and I'm like,
It's intentional.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It feels because I'm like, wow, I'm really not doing my job correctly right now.
No, but tonight, Conestoga faces off against the University of Kansas, the Jayhawks. So it should be a big matchup. It should be an opportunity for Conestoga to find their way into the win column, as that's, of course, still kind of the mission of the season.
Yeah. It's in our goals right now.
Yeah.
We're doing our SMART goals. You know, it's our short-term goal right now.
Yeah, is to win a game.
That's also the mid-term goal and the long-term goal.
Yeah.
Is just win all across the board.
Yeah, kind of sad though that it's still the short-term goal. Yeah, but we'll see tonight. Something might be different. I'm still looking forward to it all the same, as this team has given us no reason to not be excited anyways.
Which team? Our team?
Our team, of course.
Yeah, our team's done
our League of
good.
Legends team, who if you have not met yet, well, I'll let you do so now. There it is, the League of Legends squad, and well, it's been rather fluid so far. We'll call it, as we don't even really know who we're about to see play.
We kind of do. We have a general idea.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
We've been waiting for them to just kind of file into our Esports Hub, of course. Beforehand, we did have a player named Free T-Shirts, now known as Ayume.
He's found his way. No more free T-shirts.
Who I don't even...
the one that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, of course. Ayume. No longer, yes.
Free T-shirts.
T-shirts are costly now.
They are.
You can't just be giving away free T-shirts like that anymore. So yeah, that's the big update here from Conestoga. Whoa. Lopachinski's chair fighting back a little bit. Of course, the other players here know Lopachinski, Lazaro, and then the others that we've gotten to know so far.
Fusion.
Exactly.
Fusion, who's over on the other side of the desk currently.
Yeah, they're just hanging out more or less.
Yeah, just feeling the vibes, making sure everyone's doing well. We got our rankings.
Yeah, looking at where we're at. Oh, excuse me, we did have a win. I guess I'm imagining things, but we have gotten our first win of the season there. But you still do see us down at 7th. University of Kansas are 2-1 right now, so that's gonna be the big matchup.
The George Mason and Bruton Parker.
Yes, 3-0 still, which is pretty good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, of course we faced off against Oakland University. We know that they beat us, and then of course the rest of the bracket. Conestoga looking to, you know, do a little better than what we've seen so far on the stream, facing off against one of those schools that is
number 4.
Yeah, rather big. The University of Kansas, the Jayhawks.
Can we talk about their logo?
What about it?
It's kind of Like, it's goofy in a great way.
That's one of the classic logos in
It reminds me
sports.
of, for some reason, like Sesame Street, which
That's
kind of
it,
makes me happy.
yeah.
Like, Big Bird's distant cousin.
Well, that's what a Jayhawk is, apparently.
What, a big bird?
Apparently, yeah, that's what I've gathered from their logo, yes.
Alright, I guess that's what we can go with for now.
So, yeah,
Big Bird.
yeah, University of Kansas Jayhawks, that's, yeah. As we do see there, it looks like Yuri was set to take over.
Yeah. It's the new Lopaczynski.
Hey, beforehand, we talked with Lopaczynski, we talked with Yuri a little bit, talked about character picks and all that, and Yuri joked around about how he would sub in if need be.
Oh, yeah, because at one point it was a 1v5 situation that we're looking at. We're joking around with them. It was fun. It was a nice little vibe that we had. Learned some things. We got some of our questions that we had last week answered, which was nice.
Yeah, that was nice. Talking about the match, pregame, and character picks and everything like that.
Learned Lopaczynski is Google famous.
Yeah, he's got his own Google blurb.
Yeah, and an AI blurb of all things.
But no Wikipedia yet.
Not yet.
So
We'll get there eventually for him.
anyone listening who works for Wikipedia, you can't really work for Wikipedia.
It's kind of just
any
a volunteer.
any avid Wikipedia editors, go for it. Make
Yeah.
him one.
Please make all our entire rosters of every
Seems like-
single player.
Seems like it would be a lot of work
Surely someone's got to be like really enjoying of that sort of thing.
and really bored.
Yeah, you'd really, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not getting paid for it. So,
You're probably paying Wikipedia to be able to do it.
yeah, I don't actually know how the back workings of Wikipedia works. I feel like
they
it's
ask
always
me
just
for
been
money.
a free.
They ask me for money every
Yeah.
time I go on.
I've noticed that too. Please donate to us.
Yeah.
We're a free website. Donations are welcome.
Well, are we also? I mean, donations are welcome to me personally.
Yeah.
I would take donations.
I would too.
That's mostly just because I'm broke, but
What
No.
college student isn't broke?
yeah, that's a good point. No, we did get into a pregame a little bit there, but yeah, we of course come a little earlier than the average folk to these events, but yeah, it was just Lopa who was here like rather early. He's the guy that we're gonna be looking at to see, does he know what's up? Do we have strats? Are we ready?
I would hope that he would know what's up. I would hope.
Yeah, I would hope so, as well as we are, of course, just waiting. We're having a bit of an issue with the draft, so that's all there is to this current delay, but we are getting ever so closer to our game of League of Legends.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see. I want to see a quadra kill.
Now,
I want to see it from
us.
Oh, who would I want to see it from? I want to say
anyone.
Lazaro just because I want to see him pop off.
Yeah, that's
but
not
like,
a situation he's into often.
no. Usually he's kind of just getting
Yeah.
bullied into a corner like that. That was wild. 3 men to take down 1 Lazaro.
Now, I have been talking with my brother, who was an avid League player, and he was telling me that they are going to be patching out, I mean, not out, like physically you can do it, but sending to top lane.
Oh,
And then instead of sending your ADC and your support bot lane,
how would you fix that?
well, it's if you send your support top lane or like ADC, like, top lane, your team then gets like no gold, no experience. Like, it's something like that he's telling me.
It's so weird.
So it's like physically you can do it. It's just because they want to get the strategy out of the game that we've been seeing very often.
They don't like how everyone's decided to make the game their own.
No, it's more so just like they don't like seeing teams get beat just because they go standard League of Legends. Because teams have been doing rather off strats as we've noticed so far.
Interesting. So that I don't know how I feel about that, because isn't one of the main points of competitive gaming is finding strats to use against your opponents, and now they're
Yeah,
like, you can't do that.
That's correct. It's just I feel like in this situation, Riot and those responsible for the balance want to see the game played how
They want it.
how it's meant to be played, so to say. And they want to
guess.
see balance changes and workarounds relating to how they designed the game to be played. Yes.
They want to see it more skill than strat.
Yes, exactly. They want to see two top players going at it every time. And they want to see someone eventually win that battle rather than waiting, or rather than seeing two people go top lane and just completely steamroll whoever was there. It's especially an issue at certain skill levels like our own, but even you see in higher skill levels of one player is good enough to hold off two in the right situation.
Yeah.
Like if one player knows it has to hold off two players for a while, it's going to be able to do that. But if you don't know that two players are coming at you and that one player is not, you know, the one player you would expect to be in that situation, that's when issues arise.
Yeah, especially depending on how they move for that 2-player stack. You could have one come out of the jungle for all things, and then you're really taken off guard, and then it just really messes up the entire game. We also seen last week a completely different style of League of Legends where everyone just started fighting right off rip, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden-
and I'm not sure what the patches look like for that at all. That one doesn't. That one my brother and I didn't really get into, but no, we were talking about how, yeah, so it will be back to more so that like standard league play that you're used to seeing.
yeah, the cookie cutter.
Yeah, more or less.
Sounds right.
I mean, it's still League of Legends. It's still rather complicated, so.
Yeah, I watched Lopa play and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. All I know is that I want a microphone in there just to hear how many keyboard smashings going on.
Cheapers, yeah. like not them mic'd up. You just want,
I just want keyboard
yeah,
mics.
you just want like, yeah, ambient mics
Yeah.
for the room.
The
Yeah,
vibe. The
exactly.
vibe
That'd
check.
be nice.
Just how it is. But we have champ picks.
We do have champ picks. The first one for Kansas, Casante. And then for Conestoga, Victor and Nar.
And then we also got we're going V or Vi? I feel like we always debate this every time. Vi?
Yeah, fun fact. This is not
Oh.
fun. This is not fact. This is just wrong, straight out.
Okay.
It's actually the Roman numeral for 5.
So,
So
are we
it's-
gonna say 5?
So it's just
But there's an
5E.
I.
It's 5e. Actually, no, that is the Roman numeral for 6? Yes. Is
But
VI.
isn't it usually an uppercase?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm lying. Is what's happening.
Are we starting the lying stream again?
Yeah,
Is
oh,
this gonna
it's-
be like a common
Oh,
thing now?
the lying and being wrong stream has started the moment.
Welcome
you
to our
decided.
League of Legends.
Yeah, it started the moment you decided to tune in. This is nothing new. No, I'm gonna go with Vi. I don't know. I was trying to figure out with my brother, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like I couldn't remember. I thought it was XI in my infinite wisdom. I
No,
was not correct.
you're close.
As we have gotten our first 3 picks down, though, and we do know, we know that these are flexible. These could be whoever.
Yeah, we now know that these are typically every so often you'll find flex.
No, but if I
characters.
did have to assume who was who here, I would have to assume Lazaro is going to be Nar.
As always.
Kasai will most likely be that mid laner. Oh, but I don't know. I that's where my knowledge just gone.
Yeah.
If we were smart, we would be able to say, oh yeah, Kasai, Kasa, or Victor. Oh yeah, they're obviously a jungler. We could know if we were actually smart.
And I'm like trying to just from my memory of who plays what.
Well,
of,
we've
like,
also
trying to
seen a
figure it
lot of
out.
Casante and Ezreal.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
couldn't tell you that either. Who's
Um,
meant to be? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we can attempt to lie and make a really good case.
We can always guess and then see when the game starts.
Yeah. I
So
guess.
I'm guessing. Oh, I don't want to. I don't want this. I feel worse about being wrong if I'm actually just trying to guess. Like if I'm trying to make it a game, I would rather just lie and then.
The
find
worst
out
is
I
we
was
don't
lying.
even know like what these characters are typically used for or what their abilities
See, we
are.
would if we paid attention.
we would.
Instead, all I really see when we do watch League of Legends, and this is for anyone who's not a big League of Legends person, is whoa, bright colors, that person's dead.
Whoa, the gold is going crazy.
So yeah, if I really got in tune with it, I would know by now.
I feel like if we actually sat down with these guys and like
I
let them
do know
just-
that whatever these final 2 picks are going to be your what, ADC and support.
I think
It's what-
I think
it's
so.
At least a bit of what we're being told, and I feel like that would make sense.
I'd hope.
Now, I will say my brother was quizzing me on all the
Oh.
characters. He's like,
Oh.
just how many can you name off the top of your head? And most of the ones that I named are on the screen right now.
That's good.
Xin Zhao, of course.
Zyra.
I did not say her, no. But that is who is being played right now for the University of Kansas,
Yeah.
who's getting into their last pick.
Who do we think is gonna be?
Oh, well,
Nope.
there you go.
They spoke for me.
Yeah, they picked, they locked that in right when you asked for it. Syndra for Kansas. For Conestoga, I don't know. I've, again, seen a lot of different stuff for Conestoga here. Now, this is probably going to be ADC, so maybe Braum, but I've also seen Braum get picked before in the top 3 picks. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see before it comes out. That's also one of the last people I know the name of. Rakan, I think that's an R.
It looks like an R. If I lean in real close.
He looks...
Rakan? Rakan?
Yeah, Rakan. No, no, this is about what I expect. The big thing is, though, we have a Nar, and that's all I really know. Which is
That's
funny.
all I care about.
Yeah, my brother was telling me, Nar has like 7 abilities. Why do you know him? I'm like, I don't know. I just noticed him.
Because he's cute. That's the
He's
main thing we know him by.
Super noticeable, really.
Him and the little green guy. Forgetting his name.
Lacroix?
No.
Renekton?
No.
Oh, that is a character.
Amumu.
Oh, Amumu, yes. I can't believe I didn't say his name yesterday.
He's kind of
Better name.
a slightly, I don't want to call him a forgetful character, but he's kind of, for us, pretty much every single champion is a forgetful champion.
Yeah,
but
other than Narya, it's, yeah. As we are getting closer to that game, of course, building up a little bit of spectator delay.
it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. But we are getting closer and closer to that. If we're lucky, we might get to send it to a little break before the game starts while these boys get ready. As
I'm looking at their keyboards right now.
yeah, that's your main focus. is
Yeah,
the keyboard.
because
We got some red, some perp.
No, I don't think Siren has a mouse pad.
Oh yeah,
I don't think he's got one.
weird. So strange. I guess that's a strat. I guess.
It's an odd one. It also looks like most of them play with pretty straight keyboards.
I mean, look over at Lopachinski there.
Yeah, Lopachinski's the only
gets-
like normal one in this sense, but like
No, I mean, yeah, for a
oh
game
yeah,
like
he
League.
has no mouse pad.
That's so strange.
How does your mouse like not
Yeah,
Yo,
how do you
wonky.
control all that? How do you control what you need to? Oh my goodness.
No, but you know how sometimes if like the surface is too glossy, it'll like it won't pick up like the
He's using his fake expensive AliExpress mouse there. Shout out to our producers calling it a Diva Overwatch mouse. It's gonna explode in his hand and a small girl's gonna run out for a minute.
That is your backup. That's what you use when you know you rage.
Ah, yes. when
So
you-
it's a very quick
You don't
and
want
cheap fix.
fear,
Yeah.
yes, of breaking your remote. That makes sense. Well, we will be back very shortly with our game, so make sure you stick around here as you won't want to miss it.
Condors Esports is innovating intercollegiate gaming in Ontario and beyond. We've built a community where you can compete, play, and work in a dynamic program accessible from all campuses.
Condors Esports is more than just gaming. Here, you'll find empowerment and inspiration in state-of-the-art facilities equipped with the latest technologies and unwavering support.
We are varsity athletes, turning victories into championships as high-performing gamers.
We are relentless, constantly pushing our limits and pursuing excellence through every match.
We are Condors. Gaming connects us on campus or online, all through best-in-class equipment.
We're building a foundation of experience, powered by our passion, and developing skills that drive personal and professional success.
We are eager students, transforming our dreams into careers in dynamic and emerging industries.
Condors Esports goes beyond gaming, fostering enduring friendships, unforgettable experiences, and meaningful connections.
This is your chance to transform your passion for video games, esports, and technology into something impactful. Learn how Conestoga is introducing Condors Esports to your campus and connect with fellow Condors striving to soar.
We are Condors.
If a career in esports sounds wild to you, it's not. This is where your profession plus your passion could come together. Would still need what traditional business would need. The more distinct difference is in traditional sports, no one owns the ball. But in esports, someone does own the game. And this is part of what we're going to discuss in this program. You'd be able to learn how to run an esports event on the operations side to the management side of it. Marketing and promotions, how to deal with sponsorships, how to deal with partnerships, and also a big part of our industry is social media as well. What you're working on now is probably also needed. This industry needs all kinds of professionals. If you're looking for change, this program could be a converging point. Good luck and have fun.
Good luck today.
Thanks, man.
How I'm loving life these days. I see it falling into place. It's coming together. I don't even need to chase it. You see it written on my face. It's the right time, right place. How I'm loving life these days. It's the right time, right place. How I'm loving life these days.
Welcome back. We are still building that spectator delay. As always, it's one of those common things with League of Legends. We love it. We also hate it, but it is what it is. Obviously, U of Kansas is the team we're going up against. You see the logo. Curtis and I were talking about it a little bit earlier. It's a little bit of a fun one. It reminds me a lot of my childhood, won't lie. It's a weird one, but it's fun. It is what it is. Obviously, League of Legends. don't really know a whole lot about it. I tried playing it at one point. Wasn't great at it. That's why I don't play it anymore. I should pick it up though, or at least watch some streams, just like you're watching ours. That's how we all deal with it. But it's fun. It's great. I feel a little insane right now, but welcome to the casting. Stream chamber is actually really nice. Now we're in the game. We're in the game, guys. Game has started, and we already see. Is there gonna be a team battle off the start? What is the strat we're seeing right now? Everyone's in the jungle. We see Siren, Azuma. Everyone's channeling. We got off to a really weird start right now. Siren's moving off. We see obviously U of Kansas.
Minions has spawned.
Wandering around. Minions are spawning. Everyone was waiting on that little spot at the start. And we're just, you know, we got Siphon, Archive. I haven't actually looked at this U of Kansas team's names. We got Archive, Siphon, Huwashi, Watts, and Jabay. It's fun. We already got a fight off the bat. In mid lane here, Siren and Hi, I'm gonna call him Hashiwa. Obviously, bottom lane, getting off to what we typically see. Some fights going on, some exchanges, minion battles, the battle for gold. Everyone's even, very even in this. Lazaro kind of just spending his time up the top. We see him song dance. Bottom lane is doing some good damage there though. Same with Siren. As we see 2 half health. But it is how we're dealing with it. So mid lane doing their best. Bot lane still doing well. We're doing great. We've got a new voice here. Yuri's here to help us out. Someone who actually knows this game.
Unfortunately. Honestly, first blood dropping. Zyra getting a kill. IMA trading it back on Ezreal. We'll see if they can turn this into a double. It's getting closer. IMA stepping up, gets the double. This is a great start for our bot lane. Condors picking up the lead so far in the kill department.
Siren doing good, holding down mid here.
He's doing all right. We've got a pretty good wave state here. He's a little bit low on mana. It looked like the Vi ganked mid while we were making that bot play. But 2 for 1 overall, favoring us. So far, so good. But we do see on the minimap Vi invading our topside jungle. We'll see if our Zinzao Lopachinski realizes, hey, he's got no camps up there. Gotta reset, spend some gold. Bot lane being shoved in. Siphon getting pretty aggressive, trying to poke out Fusion. We'll see if there's a mid play coming up. Looks like they're pinging, but Syndra's already under turret. No transition there. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, big wave stacking up. IMA getting poked out. Ooh.
Turret damage coming in. That's not what we really want to see.
It's not too bad so far. Honestly, it could be a lot worse. We'll see Vi actually, it looks like she's going to deny herself. Suiciding, gets all the top camps. Denies kill gold, killed XP away from the Condors, wasting their time. Lopachinski, unfortunately, super far behind now in camps, but we'll see the development here. Lazaro trying to freeze top wave. We'll see walking up into the Cassante. That rage meter's about to pop off. Meganar coming out, but nothing else really to come from this play. Great wave state top lane. Oh, looks like he's going in for an all-in. We'll see if he can turn this into a kill. Lazaro getting him really low. Lopachinski's there as well. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, 2v2 going down. Siphon's getting super aggressive. Fusion dropping in all of his abilities. Kill goes to Rakan, unfortunately, but Condor's bot lane flipping this play on its head. Great spot for us. IMA really, really strong right now. Top play, unfortunately, didn't convert into a kill, but they did get Cassante's flash.
What is Cassante's flash.
His defensive summoner spell ability, or offensive depending on the situation at hand. So he's now more vulnerable in the top lane should Lopachinski come out and gank once again. But honestly, so far the Condors early game, fantastic, honestly. That early gank coming from Lopachinski, setting up Aime, turning that into a double kill early enough. Now getting an assist, unfortunately, kill went to Rakan, but still huge lead in the bot lane, honestly. If you're looking at items, you can see components-wise, Kais is up 2 major items to but we'll see what happens with this Drake on its spawn. Hashiwa getting really low.
Yeah, or do we think they're gonna find a little safe zone to channel, or do we think they're still gonna try to hold on that mid lane?
So right now the main play is this Infernal Drake. Lopachinski's on it, he's setting it up, but Vi is about to walk into it. We'll see if our bot lane is able to collapse, but they might not be able to. Victor's roaming down, but he's really low. We have to make sure that Siren doesn't die here. Bot lane sniffing it out. They know the Drake's coming out. Fusion's there, but Aime stuck on Wave. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Lazaro getting a little bit handsy with Jabu. And it looks like Kansas is just going to give up the Elder Drake. Wow. I guess looking at Syndra, she's way too low to roam. They don't feel like committing into the 4v3. Great early game so far for the Condors. 3 kills and a Drake, all within 7 minutes.
That is a lot more progress than we typically see 7 minutes in.
Yeah, this is a pretty fast-paced game, honestly. Lopachinski on Xin Zhao enables him to play the early game a lot more aggressively. He's very aggressive as a player, so it's nice to have a champion that allows him to be involved early and often. Even with this, you can see he's walking up to Void Grubs, but they're not letting these go for free this time. Contesting the Rift Scuttler. I think Waddick gets level 6 here, if I'm not mistaken, which makes the next set of ganks a little bit more suspect, basically. You can see the support roaming up to the Grubs. Kansas going to be taking those. Lopachinski forced back into his jungle, decent camps. Mid laners on rotation, not a lot they can do here. We'll see if bot lane is able to zone off Siphon from getting golden experience from the minions themselves. Further increasing that bot lane disparity.
Lazaro still throwing hands up here in the top lane, but is that 3 people coming for him? This is something that we typically see happen to poor Lazaro. He gets taken out by Jabu.
A little bit too aggressive there. He suspected something once those Void Grubs went down, but had no idea Zyra was there. Huge brute, huge roam from Archive, setting up that top play. Evening things out for Kansas University.
Yeah, they're doing good. It looks like Fusion's kind of running around with Lopachinski.
Oh, and maybe a mid lane dive coming out.
Okay, Lopa.
Oh, wow. Siphon losing his entire health bar for a quick poke. Not ideal, but our Kaisa's out of mana, so he's got it back. We'll see if we can turn this into some more bot lane pressure. It looks like Archive's roaming around, hovering his Vi, looking to make a play around mid here. Huge poke coming out of that way. Syndra's probably going to reset here. I don't see a mid play happening. Wave is way too big. Siren's way too safe. I think the game is going to stall out for a little bit here.
Yeah, we tend to see that happen. We'll see a whole lot pop off. I feel like that's a very typical League of Legends thing. Everything pops off, huge storm, and then we all chill out. We have a little bit of a sit back, so relax, vacation style, and then all of a sudden fights start happening and everything just kicks off.
Yeah, and that's part of the beauty of collegiate. A lot of these players are onliners. They're all solo queue spammers. They're all aggressive. They all want to get involved early, just like Lazaro getting his head smashed in by Jabu, going all out. Unfortunately, doesn't get the kill. Lazaro is really, really low. He has to be careful here. Flash from Jabu, flash back from Lazaro. This is an action-packed top lane. Holy, everybody's throwing hands. We'll see if Lazaro doesn't get picked off now that his flash is down. Setting up Vi for a topside play should she choose to go there, which it looks like she's actually pivoting. Was going bot lane, now hitting top lane. Let's see if Lopachinski's able to turn this play around on its head. He's a little bit ahead of the Vi. going for that Rift Scuttler, but he will be on vision should he show his face top. Lazaro overextending a little bit, thought Jabu backed. Jabu running down to his jungler, has no idea that Vi's around the corner. Lopaczynski looking to engage. He's got the 1, he's got 2, he's got 3, misses the knockup, unstoppable. Jabu getting really low, flash out of Vi, drops the ultimate. Lopaczynski goes down to the turret. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, Fusion, Ayame all dropping their ults. Archive dropping again. Fortunately, the kill goes to Rakan, and everybody's dropping like flies. Siren making a roam. Wadek is on top of him. Hashi was there as well. Victor ult gets dropped, but it's not going to convert into a kill, and holy, everybody is dying everywhere.
We're not even back to the vacation phase. We're still having fights down here in the bot lane, which, I mean, everyone loves to get a couple kills under their belt, so I don't see why not. Lazaro still somehow alive through all of that.
Yeah, it's getting really crazy here. Unfortunately, Lopaczynski went down on the tower dive, got pulled by Jabu's W. Turned that into a kill, unfortunately, for Wadek, so Lopaczynski falling even more behind in the 1v1 scenario against the Vi. But our bot lane is the stars of the show right now. They're super far ahead. You can see Kaisa has the Kraken Slayer online, 1 full item already at 11 minutes. Triforce coming out for Vi as well. Super, super rich. Both of these players in the Summoner's Rift map looking to be the stars of the show here. High impact plays coming out of both of them. Dragon respawning soon as well. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, just some happy little farming. But you can see the Zyra's all over the map. She's pretty much given up on Ezreal, leaving him to fend for himself. Looking to make some impact plays in the top and the middle lanes. We'll see if they convert this into a kill. Lazaro is going to be going Mega Gnar. They might force a dive, but it looks like they're going to turn that into a Rift Herald. Meanwhile, Condors are going to handshake that objective away. They're going to take Void Grubs, not Rift Herald.
What is the actual point of Void Grubs?
So Void Grubs enable teams to kind of get a damage over time effect. Actually, we'll hold that thought. Lopaczynski burning Siphon's flash. Back to my point, Void Grubs, they help teams push. So they give them a damage over time effect on turrets, on structures. So a team like Kansas, actually, they're really good at hitting turrets. The Cassante is going to be playing in side lane, pretty much perma-splitting. We'll see if Siren can actually turn this into a kill. A huge chunk there. Meanwhile, Ezreal hovering around. He might be jumping on Siren. Doesn't really know. Now he knows. Siren's probably getting flashed on. Flash stun. Traded. Nicely done there from Jimmy, but we'll see if they convert this into a mid-dive. You can see they're pinging for it. Vi's getting kind of handsy. She's looking for it. She's coming around. Drops the ultimate. We'll see if Jimmy can turn this one back. Unfortunately, it's not looking like it. Lopaczynski's there, however. It turns that back into a double. Holy. 10 kills in 13 minutes. Can we get more?
100%. We will absolutely see more. I mean, Lopaczynski got to be happy with himself to, you know, be a little bit of a cleanup crew to a degree over there, but we might see Lazaro go down if he doesn't play this safe.
We'll see. He's got no Mega Form, unfortunately, but when he's Mini Gnar, he's a little bit ranged, so he doesn't have to worry too much about that. Meanwhile, our bot lane did take out the tier 1 turret there. Further extending that lead, Ayame, absolutely massive in the gold department, has his major item, has now his Berserker's Greaves, looking to build his second item before Ezreal even has his first.
I'm surprised. Lazaro, I'm very shocked he has not died at all.
Yeah, everything is just turning onto everyone else. When they had the top lane rotation, it looked like Matt got caught out, didn't end up dying. Same thing with Jimmy. Siren was there, got blown up a little bit, but no deaths so far out of Lazaro. Playing it super safe on the Gnar, which is to be expected. This champion doesn't really want to be dying early, wants to be kind of threatening, but not really doing much until team fights later in the game.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some team fights from the Condors pretty recently, and they've done pretty good until we're not exactly sure what goes wrong in them, where they'll win them, and then all of a sudden there's some sort of change where something goes haywire.
Yeah, looking at the drafts here, it's going to be pretty hard for the Condors later in the game. The way Kansas kind of drafted, Syndra's a really good anti-Gnar champion. So Gnar, when he goes Mega, he wants to jump in. He wants to throw the Mega Gnar, slam him into walls, slam him into this team, or some sort of thing like that. Where Syndra can just push him away. She can just say, no, you're not doing this. You're not jumping into us. get out of my area and kind of deny that engage altogether. And same sort of thing with Rakan with our fusion. He plays pretty similar to the Gnar in terms of engagements, very linear, very one-directional. Strict counters both of them, so it's going to be really hard for the Condors to get advantageous fights. They'll probably have to look for flanks, but if they do get those flanks, it's going to be huge for them.
Okay. Interesting. That
big knowledge dump there.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's very useful. I mean, it's more than Curtis and I can ever come up with in probably the 4 months we've been watching this game.
Yeah, I only have a little bit over you guys. I've played this game for like 12 years.
Oh yeah, just a little tiny
Just a
bit.
small number, yeah. You guys will get there, honestly.
Yeah, just give us, 12 years.
After the first 3, it all starts to make sense.
Once you can get past the tutorial, we should be fine.
Condors looking to extend into the enemy topside jungle, setting up for the Rift Herald, coming online shortly, but Wadek is sniffing it out. He knows it's coming. We'll see if Kansas decides to collapse on this. Victor's bot lane with teleport. He can show up to this fight if they want. Jabu getting a little bit aggressive. Wadek getting poked on the side. They might be able to engage on Ayume, who's extending a little bit too far for my liking. Fusion flashing in, gets the triple knockup. Everybody's slamming abilities. Holy, I'm losing my mind. It's so hard to keep track of everything. Everybody's slamming ults. Looks like this fight favors the Condors. Jabu going down, but we'll see if he can get back to his teammate. Everybody really low. Vi re-engaging here. Lazaro on the backside, flashing on Syndra, gets one. We'll see if he can turn it into a double. Siphon turning on Lazaro. Lazaro drops. Fusion re-engaging on Jabu and Archive. We'll see if they can turn this into anything. Condors getting really, really low. They have to be really careful here. They have to run. I don't think they have anything left in the gas tank. And oh my goodness, Willow, that was really hard. That was a mouthful.
Yeah, welcome to team fights. You will notice quite often I do not commentate team fights because there's so many colors and so many things going on that I don't know where to start and where to stop, other than the fight has taken off and the fight has ended.
It was a tough look for the Condors. IMA sort of extended out in the wrong spot. He was a little bit too far out at dodge. Zach Dodge, pun there. And Vi was looking at him. They had to force an engage out of Fusion, try to save him, but it was a little bit all over the place. They weren't sure if they needed to go in, play the fight in too many different directions. Everybody's slamming abilities on top of each other, which is where Zyra thrives. She slams all of her little plants, throws up her ultimate, denies a huge area, knocks everybody up, making life pretty much hell for the Condors when they look to do those 5v5 sort of brawls. So again, it kind of goes back to what I said, right? Their engages are really hard because they're so one-dimensional, they're so obvious, so linear, that they basically have to play for flanks, which Lazaro was onto that, just a little bit too slow off the engage. So a little bit of a miscommunication there, perhaps. Definitely some mispositioning there from Arkaisa, from IMA, but overall, not the end of the world. We turned that into yet another dragon, and only lost 2, I believe, in that fight.
Yeah, we did well with keeping our lives. Usually we'll see an entire team wipe, so seeing 3 of us survive and get out pretty much a slightly low on health, I'm more than happy with that, as we see Lazaro once again going into a fight here at the bottom lane.
Just throwing hands, but unfortunately it looks like we're heading into another pause. Seems like there's some technical issues going on, but there's a lot to digest here. Obviously, that team fight was a really, really big turning point for Kansas. They were able to even out that gold a little bit more. It looks like we're actually getting back into the game. Only about 1,000 gold difference between the two teams right now, despite all the objectives landing on the Condor side. Again, trading the Void grabs that Kansas ended up getting. They got all 6 to our 3 Drakes. We'll see if we can turn that into anything else in the future. Heading into, looks like, another technical pause here. Yeah, honestly, it's really tough to kind of break this game down, obviously. If you look at both sides of the scope, it's a little bit hard for Condors to see this late game. They have a lot of damage starting to scale up. Kaisa getting very, very close to her second item. You see Victor already has his, but everybody else is catching up here on the side of Kansas.
Yeah, a lot of very interesting happenings happening. I mean, we're finally seeing Rift Herald actually having a
It's getting low, but Kansas
shot.
really afraid of the rotation from the Condors. They might be able to take it over. It's super low, 4,000 HP. Lopaczynski looking at it. Looks like there's handshake agreeing to leave it alone. Cyrus keeping it aggroed. Everybody's engaging on Wadek. Vi going in on Rakan. Ayume cleaning it up. Vi drops the ult. Wadek dropping down. Siphon handing out. Hashiwa flash ulting barrier from Ayume, and all hands are on deck. There's the Zyra ult dropping Lopachinski. Fusion flashing in, getting another one. Siren cleaning it up. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, hands still being thrown. Jabu and Lazaro absolutely hate each other. Fisticuffs non-stop. Again, another even trade for both sides. 2 going down. Again, Ayume dropping extremely low. We'll see if he can finish off Siphon. 1 auto away, does not get it, unfortunately. And again, more death. I mean, we're getting really close to that 1 kill per minute mark, which is unheard of in League of Legends.
1 kill, yeah. We've had maybe 3 whole games where we've seen absolutely insanity of kills per time, but usually it's this chill energy. Lazaro, it seems like his fight has ended. They've decided the rest of the team is not fighting. We're gonna,
Yeah, it's kind of like a tickle fight between Jabu and Lazaro. They're just hitting each other with pool noodles, angering each other, nobody ever really getting in a threatening range. Whereas the other 4 members of Kansas, the other 4 Condors, are just absolutely nuking each other health bars. Blood for the blood god, this is what we love to see. Want to make sure everybody's engaged, everybody's involved. But again, it's getting scary for the Condors. These fights are going to get harder and harder as Kansas starts to scale. They're going to have pretty much an impenetrable wall between the Cassante, between Syndra's abilities, between Zyra's plans. It's just very, very hard for the Condors to get anything done. So we'll see if they'll be able to find some creative solutions for that.
It'll be real interesting because I mean we see that new boss down in the jungle.
Yeah, I forget his name. Adakon, I think. Stopped playing the game a year ago, so all this is new to me. So we're learning together. He's a big baddie. I think he's got 2 different forms. No idea what either of them do. Pretty sure one of them is like damage. He drops all these roses that teams can pick up. They get some extra damage. Other form, again, no clue.
We're just going. I mean, you've done better than Curtis and I. We just know his name.
Yeah, I got out of this game a year ago.
It sounds like he's more the meta than Rift Herald now.
Yeah, I think League is going this whole region seasonal thing where they're focusing on Noxus. So Noxus is like this big bad race. They're warmongers. They're the bad guys basically. If Arcane Season 3 comes out, and it's not Arcane, obviously, if it's talking about like Demacia or something. Noxus is basically like, I don't really know, like Genghis Khan in history. They're just trying to conquer the world. Doing it 1 decapitation at a time. Nauticon kind of exemplifies that. He's like the god of death or something. I don't know. Thematically, he just fits that. And he only spawns on the side where the most amount of fighting happens, too. So it kind of doubles up on that. So because he's bot lane, that's where all the action has happened for the most part, honestly. Obviously, it's some topside plays, but many, many fights happening in the bot lane, many, many deaths. He decides, hey, this is where I want to go. This is where all the bodies are.
This is where all the blood has been offered. All the fights. I mean, Lazaro also had his fight down there with Jabu, and then, yeah, all the team fights have been in this kind of section of the map, as we're seeing once again kind of starting to take place.
Yeah, you can see the Condors are trying to collapse around this final Drake, but Kansas not letting it happen. Jabu's finding himself way behind enemy lines, has to go all out. We'll see if he can get out. Does end up doing that. Wadek re-engaging on Lopachinski. Maybe he's going to go down. Fusion getting in the engage, and Kansas is just giving it away. Fusion fighting off 3 more, knocking them all up. But meanwhile, a huge knock-up between Zyra and Cassante. Lazaro flash narring them into the wall, and everybody again is just dying way too fast.
Extremely fast. I think I watched at least 4 of them go down to way lower than half health, which was terrifying. I thought we were going to see 4 deaths come up. Thankfully, we didn't. We only seen, I think, 1.
Yeah, and this is a huge position for the Condors to be in. They ended up getting the enemy jungler from Kansas slain. So this pretty much all but secures the 4th dragon for us, which gives us Dragon Soul. We'll see if these guys end up suiciding for it. Fusion getting extremely low. Does end up taking down 2 Hashiwa's items. Forget their names right now. Storm Surge? Gunblade? I don't know what killed them. Something killed them. But 4 dragons for the Condors. They claim the Chemtech Soul. Also forget what that does. I think it gives them more damage, more survivability, something like that.
one of them. Each one has different abilities.
Yeah, each one does something. Infernal is historically damage. Cloud is move speed. I forget what Chemtech is. I think it's like stats, actually, armor stats. Meanwhile, mid lane, hold that thought. Ayame once again just way out of position, all alone, getting flash engaged on by Wadek. Lopachinski trying to save his life. They end up trading 1-for-1. Let's see if we can get any more. Lopachinski's got 2. He's got the knockup ready. Unfortunately, pushed out by Syndra. Siren dropping the ult as well. We'll see if it actually nets a kill. Fusion getting the engage on Archive, dropping extremely low. Lopachinski, he's going down. And we'll see if Kansas is able to turn this into another one. Huge stun coming out of Hashiwa, but he's overextending. Meanwhile, on the backside, Jabu getting in on Siren. Another trade there. Fusion certainly going to go down, and Siphon all of a sudden on a rampage.
Hey, well, Lazaro's having the time of his life down here. He's happy he didn't die.
It's Nard duty for Lazaro. Christian just slamming his head into turrets. Most certainly slamming his head into his keyboard as well, just drooling on himself. Forced to side lane.
He's making good progress down there. I mean, he's almost.
Yeah, he's getting close to the inhibitor turret there, which, you know, it's not the ideal situation for the Condors. Everybody pretty much wipes mid lane, but he's able to get some objective back there. Gives him a little bit of pressure in the bot lane. Maybe turn that into a Baron play in a couple of minutes here. We'll see if the Condors are able to find a spot for him. But they blew a lot of their summoner spells in that fight. Ayame forced the flash out from the Vi ultimate, now making him pretty much a sitting duck if he's ever in range of her ultimate ability.
Very interesting stuff happening. When you die, what do you lose when you die?
Just time, honestly.
That's all?
Basically, yeah. You don't lose any gold, you don't lose any experience. Obviously, in the offset of that is that the enemy does get gold, does get experience when they kill you. But your only punishment is to see the game in black and white, realistically.
Which is, I feel like most games you should be seeing kind of in a black and white sense of just get your kills, get what you need, and just finish with a win across your screen.
Yeah, hopefully not too much black and white, though. That's the fear here. We want to make sure we see all the pretty colors on Summer's Rift. We don't want to see it through dog vision. I think they see the world in black and white. I don't really know.
So that, or they can't really see like blues. Everything's yellow or something like that. Blues, they're like blue-green blind.
Meanwhile, Wadek stepping a bit too far, trying to get some vision down. We'll see if he actually gets out. Huge play there from Syndra to knock all the Condors back. And again, you can see just how much impact this pick has. 4 Condors on 1 Kansas University player, all defeated by 1 button press from the Syndra.
Craziness, that one button holds so much power.
It's all it takes, honestly, and that's just a regular ability on like a 6-second cooldown, 6-7 seconds. So she can do that pretty much non-stop.
That actually, it seems a little unfair.
Yeah, it's a fantastic pick into our draft, honestly. You got to commend Kansas for that knowledge, picking up that champion, knowing how impactful it's going to be. I believe it was their 5th pick, too. So they had no information on the Rakan, but they saw it into the Xin, they saw it into the Gnar. They saw it into Kaisa, technically, as well, and said, hey, 3 dashes, 3 all-ins, that's enough for them. We've seen enough.
That's all I need to know. I know my pick. Let me have it.
Lazaro trying to get that bot wave going. Meanwhile, the mid lane is being handshake back and forth, just pushing minions endlessly. Victor up top, just happy stacking noises, getting his CS up. Looks like Adicon is being charged down by the Condors. They're full committing to this, getting a teleport from the Victor just to make sure all 5 of them are there, but Kansas way too slow to get to it. Good zoning from Fusion. A TP coming out from Syndra, all alone in no man's land. 1 versus 5. We'll see if she goes down. Surely Hashiwa as well going down. Sorry, I confused that. That was actually Xante. No, it was the Syndra TPing in. My bad. It's just chaos, honestly. There's too many champions on the screen. There's too much happening.
Too many pretty colors.
Honestly, I gotta commend you guys for casting this game not knowing League of Legends. I've played this game since high school, and I don't even know what's going on at this point.
Honestly, at this point, we just say what we see and hope that it is somewhat correct, and if not, we just make it entertaining.
We'll see if the Condors turn this into a Baron play. It looks like they're going to take mid-turret before they do, just to ensure they have extra pressure on the map, opening it up more and more before going towards Baron Nashor. Nard TPing in. You can see him flying by all of the Kansas City players. Kansas University, sorry. We'll see how this goes. Condors are getting kind of low. Not being able to reset here, but Kansas has no chance. They got 2 in the base. Condors securing Baron Nashor, resetting, and they're going to come back on the map. Very, very strong. They get to cash in on these last 2 fights, these last 2 objectives. Getting ready for the Elder Dragon as it's coming up in the next couple minutes or so. Kansas forced to basically use this time to get some vision down, but not too much they can do here, pushing into Baron empowered minions.
These are crazy looking creatures. Everyone's got like this weird little box around them, little green flowers, looks like some mint leaves.
Yeah, that's the soul. So that lets everybody know basically that the Condors are a little bit stronger than they normally would be. And they're going to be using that strength to try to secure this Elder Dragon, which is going down extremely fast. Kansas moving way too slow to try to contest this. And they're just going to give it up, and Condor is most likely going to just force an engage here. Elder Dragon executes. You can see on Syndra getting extremely low. That white tick's creeping up. She gets blasted by Siren, goes to gray screen. Meanwhile, Jabu getting way too low. The Cassante trying to get out, flashes out, gets slammed. 2 for Jimmy on Victor here. It looks like the Condors are going to siege bot lane. They've got 2 waves pushing. They're going to go all in on the bottom inhibitor. And there's only 2 lonesome Kansas University players stuck trying to defend base against Baron, against Chemtech Soul, against Elder Dragon. And there's absolutely nothing he can do. He just has to watch his base die. Ezreal on the backside trying to get some poke in, just watching. Condors forcing it down. And that's a game 1 win. And it was a huge back and forth game, but great play overall from the Condors to realize, hey, we've got this hard-winning bot lane. We've got all these dragons. Let's just keep stacking. Let's keep scaling. And they turned that into a W.
That was actually really beautiful to watch. I have to give huge props, though, to Lazaro, though, for that bot lane clear. So it's pretty good. Pretty
yeah,
nice.
Honestly, that bot lane pressure that we talked about, you know, while that mid lane fight was going down, Lazaro turning it into a bot lane turret, ended up having a ripple effect where they can now end the game. All that pressure that they were doing bot side, again, just way too impactful on the side for the Condors, where they just got so much acceleration going down there, so much gold, so much XP. IMA just outshining Ezreal, and all off of the back of fantastic plays from Lopachinski. Again, incredible early game player, loves to get involved, loves to have high impact. On a champion like Xin Zhao, which enables him to do that. Overall, great play from the Condors. I was pretty scared around the mid game when they were kind of dying for nothing, I'm not going to lie. But they transitioned it very, very well. They just had way too many leads. Kansas was really, really slow to respond, so we'll see how they adapt in game 2.
It'll be really interesting, because, yeah, Kansas kind of just very often sat there and was just like, we'll
Yeah.
just spectate what's happening. Like,
Yeah,
ooh, you guys got this.
It was just way
Get
too
the
hard for them to
kill.
get in position. They're more like anti-Condors, basically. So once the Condors are set up, they're kind of just sitting there like, all right, what do we do now? They can't really engage. They just have way too many tools to basically break those engages off the Vi. Basically, they can only grab 1 person at a time. Whereas the Condors, if Nard jumps in, if Rakan jumps in, they can get all 5 if they're in an advantageous enough position.
Very interesting. What are you looking for going into kind of round 2?
I'm hoping the Condors mimic the strategy that they just played. They try to go hard on bot lane, make sure IMA gets a massive lead against his opponent, and just transition that into pretty much map domination. I mean, we saw it there. The lead that he got kind of extended a lot into these objectives, into these fights. Just a couple of mispositioning errors where he would get caught out, but the damage that he was pumping out, absolutely massive. So we'll see if the Condors kind of continue that strat. We'll see how Kansas adapts as well, if they're able to be more proactive on the plays rather than reactive, and try to force the Condors out of objectives versus just saying, hey, can't really do much in these fights. We can't really have a window. Giving everything up for free is definitely not a strategy to win. So we'll see how they adapt for game 2.
I hope we see something pretty cool. However, while we wait for map 2 to start, we are going to send you guys to break. So we will see you on the flip side.
Esports is for everybody. That's what makes this so special, where there's not a lot of barrier to entry. It's, do you have a passion for gaming? That's all it really takes. There's so many different things involved in this. It really does take that full team to make a successful event run. And that's what this program does. You got the lighting going on, you got the video capture going on, you got the whole production crew that are packaging this all together, you have the shoutcasting that's happening. We want to be, that pinnacle for esports. We want students to come here, learn from industry best, and launch their careers in esports. You have that new arena that's being built. To have that investment through the college, it proves a lot. We're invested in this. This can lead to something really big and something really neat and something that you're really invested in. It's a billion-dollar industry, and we really can't wait to see where this goes.
Welcome back to Condors Esports. I'm joined with Yuri once again, a man who knows this game.
All too well, unfortunately, for me, honestly. A lot of wasted nights, way too many parties missed. Definitely should have studied more, less League of Legends, but we're here. It all culminated to this exact moment. This is what my life has brought me to. Guest commentating on the wonderful Condors Esports live stream, commentating the boys, Condors Esports, League of Legends. In the top lane, we've got Christian Lazaro-Tan, jungle, Matthew Lopachinski, Jimmy Siren, Aaron, and Fusion Ethan Fusion. Got mixed up there halfway through, but that's all right. We're adjusting. We're getting in there.
Like, you know more than I do. I always feel really weird pulling, like, actual names of the players.
Out of it? Yeah, for me, it's like the opposite. I don't want to call Christian Lazaro, right?
Yeah.
That's just weird to me.
I feel like it comes down to, like, when you first meet them, how they introduce themselves.
True.
Because there's a couple of the guys, I absolutely pull their first names. I'm like, can you remember it? Not. No one's going to know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like, in passing, I'm never going to call Ethan Fusion. That just sounds weird. Calling him like a car. Same with Siren. Like, that to me is like, hey, this mythical being, creature thing, you know, in the ocean. That's not Jimmy at all, so. We're getting into the draft, though. Conestoga banning out Cassidon, not Kansas. Kansas is Cassidon.
Oh, you can actually bring insight to these bands. We can't just look at the pictures and go, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, so basically to break it down here, Conestoga did some research on Kansas. A lot of their bans coming out from the mid lane here between the Cassidon and between Aurora, two really impactful champions in the late game. Condors just don't want to deal with it. Kansas, meanwhile, returning fire on our most comfortable champions. In the mid lane, Jimmy's Ari. In the top lane, Lazaro's Quinn. And in the jungle, Lopachinski's Skarner. Couldn't remember his name for a second there, bug guy. But meanwhile, we're firing back with another Lopachinski classic, the Wukong getting first picked here. Kansas looking to turn that into yet another team fight oriented composition between the Sejuani.
That's how you say that name?
Which one?
Wei?
Yeah, Hui.
There's going to be so many names that I'm going to learn properly. It's actually insane. Szechuan. Oh, I'm really learning today with these names. How do you feel, though? However, white text on white background.
Honestly, to me, I don't even see the name at this point. Like, these champions,
just recognize the face?
I just see the picture. I can tell you every pixel on it. Sometimes I do a loldo if I'm really bored. Shows you, like, hey, this is Sejuani's foot. What champion is this? And obviously, I might know that's Sejuani or something like that. Whatever skin. Getting back onto the topic of draft, however, though, we have the old classic, the Wukong Orianna getting dropped for the Condors. Following that up with a Jhin in the bot lane, we'll see Kansas returning fire with a Yone. So an absolutely wild set of champions actually coming from Kansas. Most likely that Yone is going to end up top, but it could be a Hui flex bot lane, whether that's the AD carry position or the support position. Up in the air at this point, but you can see Kansas firing away the Jace pick for Lazaro. I'm sure he's laughing right now knowing that that's taken away. The NA Jace getting banned away from the Condors. Great compliment to have. In execution, not really sure what to expect. Condors banning away Jax, thinking that Hui is ending up in the bot lane here. Most likely leaving Yone in the mid, but Kansas has a lot of flexibility here on the table.
How much do you know about Kansas in terms of League of Legends?
Honestly, I saw the OP links that they had up. They're the most played champions for about 3 minutes, so absorbed as much of that as I could before the game, and that's led me to this point here. So we're getting there.
Well, you got more on them than I do.
Roughly. I mean, I got a crash course in the 3 minutes before we ended up drafting, so that on top of the coaching experience, the playing experience, kind of know what to expect watching, you know, professional League of Legends for so many years. It's all just pattern recognition at this point, and pattern recognition kind of comes in clutch here. Kansas absolutely going the way of a team fight oriented composition here. The press R can't miss composition with the Seraphine getting locked in. They're going to be locking up the Condors, making their life once again a living hell. They want to make sure that if they press R, they just insta-win the game. It's that effortless with these champions here, with the Seraphine, with the Yone, this long wave of crowd control that can hit all 5 of the Condors if they miss position. Sejuani having a massive lockdown kit as well between the ultimate and other champions most likely coming soon.
So how would the Condors combat a team that is very team fight oriented?
So there's two different ways that they can kind of think of the draft. They can either try to match brawl for brawl. Hey, these guys are picking a bunch of press R champions. Maybe we try to match that with our own press R champions. If they don't want to go that route, they say, hey, you guys are actually just way too scary. Your Rs are bigger than ours. We're going to go the route of just split pushing. It's kind of similar to what Lazaro did on that Gnar. He was basically just perma side lane, either top, either bottom, just hitting turrets, hitting minions. That's his job. We'll see if that's what it ends up being in game 2. I'm sure he's hoping for much more action-packed, basically a composition where he can kind of succeed in that regard. And hopefully it goes that route for him. But Condors obviously have their own strats in the tank. They had the Wukong locked in. They had the Orianna. So they have just as much team fight ability as Kansas does. Not as flashy. It's a little bit faster, but way more damage up front. We'll see if they can follow that up with some sustained damage in a bit. We're getting an update here that the drafting tool has unfortunately stopped working. So we're going to go for a little bit of a technical break here while we get that sorted out and finish out the draft.
Hopefully, I hope so. Fingers crossed. We love technology. This is the one perk and just not greatness about esports.
Yeah,
you have to rely on everything working properly.
And that's the beauty of esports. Everything has to work at every given moment. Anything can go wrong. With League of Legends, so much can go wrong, honestly. Great company, great game. Small indie company, rather, putting this whole thing together. Spaghetti code left and right.
Spaghetti code.
And you can see it coming out here. We're going to cut to a quick break, and then we'll get back into the action as soon as we can. Stick around, Condors, and hopefully we see another action-packed Game 2 for Condors Esports League of Legends.
Good luck today.
Thanks, man.
How I'm loving life these days. I see it falling into place. It's coming together. I don't even need to chase it. You see it written on my face. It's the right time, right place. How I'm loving life these days. It's the right time, right place. How I'm loving life these days.
Welcome back from your little bit of a break. Hope you got water, some food, popcorn even. I feel like this is a good popcorn snacking game.
Honestly, probably not.
Okay.
Hopefully, if you're playing the game, you're not eating popcorn, getting those greasy fingers all over the keyboard, all over the mouse.
Some Cheeto dust fingers.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Honestly, it's not. Yeah, League is just not one of those games. Honestly, there's too much going on. In our side of things, one of the stats that guys try to kind of juice themselves up about is APM, actions per minute. If you ever have the chance to look at some of the different ticks that everybody does, they're all mashing their keyboard at any specific time. And meanwhile, they're maybe just hitting a turret, right? Something that looks so unactionable. You got to use that time to do other stuff. Move your camera around, see what's going on. Maybe you just have a nervous tick. You're hitting your shift key or something like that. That's a nod to Matthew Lopachinski there. But yeah, League of Legends, we're getting back into it.
Yeah, Curtis and I were actually talking. We wanted a microphone near their keyboards just to hear how many buttons
Just to hear the clicks?
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Lopachinski really gets into it. I don't know how many. I want to know how many keyboards these guys go through.
Honestly, you can go through quite a few different switches on the QWER sense, especially if you're playing a mashing champion. Evelyn, not in this game, great example, where you're pretty much just hitting Q non-stop the entire game. That's a 40-minute game. You're hitting Q, upwards of probably 5,000 times.
That is insane.
Quick guess. I don't know. It's probably way crazier than that, to be honest. But if you do 900 actions per minute, that's about, 5,000 Q presses in about 5-6 minutes. It's disgusting.
That is gross.
I don't know. Hopefully the math is right and I'm not making an idiot of myself. But League of Legends, we're back on Summer's Rift. Standard 5-point coming out from both teams. Looks like we traded some wards. Condors got some deep vision over by the enemy red buff. Kansas traded that back by warding our Raptors just to see where the junglers are starting. We can kind of deduce that the Sejuani is starting bot side, mirroring Lopachinski's bot side start. And the Hui actually going bot lane out of draft. The last couple champions there selected from the Condor side were Ambessa and Leona for top and support. And Kansas picked up a Warwick on their 5th pick. So we can kind of expect the top lane to be a big slap fight. Both of these champions want to get aggressive early. Definitely favoring Warwick a little bit more just because of the survivability he has. Think of him kind of like a vampire. He has a lot of healing built into his kit. And he can heal while dealing damage. You can see the little green numbers popping up, plus 21 there on that last hit as he punches minions. Lazaro basically forced to kind of play like a hit and run sort of style of Ambessa. He's not as strong early, but he can kind of trade in with Grasp of the Undying, the keystone he has, a little green hand. So you ever see his wrists shine up green, you can expect him to try to punch Warwick in the face. Warwick getting a little bit of vision down, making sure that he doesn't die to Lopachinski, who is now in the top side, mirroring the Sejuani as well. So you can see right there, top lane is looking to be the place where the junglers want to get involved. Hashua getting a little bit handsy on Siren there, chunking him a little bit, but not really too much to write home about.
Well, the minions are doing their jobs.
Yeah, just hitting each other, right?
Yeah,
you
just
spawn, smack another minion, and die. That is the life of a minion. The unsung heroes of the game. Can't push without them. Can't buy items without them. Can't get gold. They're just there, having a good time.
Until they're not. Until they're dead.
Until they're dead.
Then
yeah.
they just restart their life.
And then they respawn. The cycle begins anew, right?
Pretty much.
Sejuani in the top side, Lazaro not having any vision down, but we'll see if Lopachinski is able to match this. We have the Orianna moving as well. Perhaps he'll be able to catch Sejuani, but she decides to take the safe path and reset out. Meanwhile, on the ball lane, quick little 2v2 going down. Big chunk onto Ayame, losing half of his HP against this double mage bot lane. Kansas basically saying, hey, you beat us so bad last game, we're going to pick 2 champions that you can't really interact with. We're just going to smash our buttons on the minions and poke you at the same time.
What a strat.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't beat him, right, just do the next best thing, and that's just sleep for 30-40 minutes and hope to God that your R's are in sync enough to just roll over the Condors team. So we'll see how that pays off for Kansas, going a very team fight heavy composition. The Warwick being more of that side lane split pushing pressure that Lazaro was last game in the Gnar.
I mean, he's pushed them back pretty decently.
Yeah,
to
it's
their
kind of
turret.
the ebb and flow here. So Jabu has 2 minions up. He's going to try to set up a freeze here, just leave the wave in a more advantageous position. He's closer to his turret, which makes it a lot less likely for him to be under kill threat. If anybody decided to roam from the Condor side, he has his turret right there to back it up and defend him. So he's not really too worried about anything like that. Whereas Lazaro, on the flip side, has to be really, really careful that he doesn't overextend while hitting minions, while trying to pressure Jabu off of the wave or anything like that. Since he doesn't have any vision down, he just has the Rift Scuttler there that Lopaczynski secured momentarily ago. But a quick dive not going the way of the Condors, unfortunately, in the mid lane. Just a happy little handshake overall.
And so far, I mean, we're not seeing as many fights as we did last map, really. We're 5 minutes in. Last round we had like 8 deaths by the time we're 8 minutes in or something like that. Some craziness going on.
Yeah, and part of that is definitely because of this Kansas composition here. They've picked a lot more safe laning champions in the bot side. They're not getting as aggressive too. So basically makes it so that Lopaczynski's job is a lot harder to look that way, especially with how many different types of abilities they have down there. They're very magic heavy between the Hui and Seraphine, both being mage casters. Both have a lot of utility that can kind of keep Lopaczynski at bay on the Wukong. So he's going to have to find some creative angles to get involved down here. You could probably expect this game to be relatively sleeper for the next 5-ish minutes unless anything crazy happens to the top lane here. This is the place to look. Right now, both teams just handshaking objectives. It's kind of like the inverse of last game, if we remember. Condors were getting involved in the bot side with the early Drake, whereas Kansas was getting involved with the Void Grubs. Now we flip that. Kansas is going for the first Drake, getting a Mountain, whereas Condors are trading that for the 3 Void Grubs. Definitely looking to potentially put some power in the hands of Lazaro. I know he's feeling great about that, coming off of a pretty good game on the Gnar. With the Ambessa, he's able to be a little bit more impactful. You can see here, just looking at the creep score differential, sitting pretty 20 CS above the Warwick right now. Not looking great for Jabu.
So that's what that bottom half is for, the little bottom section?
Yeah, so that's all the different stats there, the 59 versus 34. Those are little minions, the last hits that they got. So if we were looking at the gold graphs here, you would see that Lazaro's up, I don't know, probably like 200, almost 300 gold, which is basically a kill in terms of creep score. So he's basically like a kill up on Jabu right now. In the grand scope, that doesn't matter until the gold is spent. And Jabu's on a champion where it doesn't really matter how much CS he's down. He's always going to be looking for the duels. He's going to be more impactful. You can see just how much he's healing off the wave here. Not doing anything too crazy. Looking to stop Lazaro's back. Chunks him a little bit. Lazaro playing it a little bit too aggressive there, thinking he's safe to recall there. Bad choice there. Jabu trying to stop him once again. Does end up doing it. Lazaro, just back up, brother.
He's really getting smacked. He's like, let me just take 2 steps back and I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's
Here comes Jabu. You know. You thought once, you thought twice. Third time, I'm going to make sure you know.
Yeah, third time, hopefully turning it into a kill. Lazaro looking to get aggressive, hits the grass proc, and Jabu's getting really, really low here, but this is where Warwick thrives. Doesn't have too much mana at his disposal, unfortunately, but he can definitely flip this play on its head despite being this low. If you're unfamiliar with the champion, he can press R, his ultimate ability, get a ton of lifesteal back, and looks like Kansas is trying to make a topside play, prevent the dive, but Lazaro's not falling for this one. He knows something's a bit suspect here. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Lopaczynski looking for a creative angle on the Yone, who just used his E ability, and this is where they want to be. Lopaczynski flashing in, 2 R's coming out. Fusion, unfortunately, not getting the follow-up to lock up Hashua, so he flashes out. Meanwhile, on the red side, Kansas rotating on Lopaczynski, way too far up. He goes down. First blood over to Kansas. We'll see if Fusion's able to turn that back with the Ignite. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do so. Lazaro TPing to make sure his teammates don't go down, and that's first blood over to Kansas.
That was a very quick first fight. Something that, I mean, we kind of expect that as a first fight to a degree, but would have been nice to get at least a exchange, considering how low we got some of their players.
Yeah, it was an all-hands-on-deck situation there. Condors, unfortunately, not knowing that Archive was once again roaming. This player has been all over the map these last 2 games, and even on the Seraphine, he's getting involved. A champion that historically doesn't really offer too much in the early game. Being able to support the teammates, drop some shields, drop some healing. I think she hit a root there as well. You can see she's still level 5. Unfortunately, didn't really have the ultimate to really close the distance there. And in the top lane, looks like all hands on deck once again. Fusion getting his hands on Jabu, but it's not going to be able to turn into anything with Wada following close by. Yone on vision as well, not going to be able to roam up top. And once again, just another slap fight in the top lane.
It really is. I mean, we see some health getting taken out, and then all the slaps get turned into heals, and there's no kills, and it's mostly the mid lane that we're actually seeing the kills come through.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stat padding there for Lazaro. He just wants to make his damage numbers look pretty. His CS numbers is looking great. We'll see if he can turn this into a kill. He's going to be trading a little bit more into Jabu, but never really under threat, unfortunately, due to the nature of this matchup. So he'll definitely need some help from his teammates in order to execute some of these kills, unless he finds himself in a favorable lane state. So right now, Jabu is kind of pushing. This is really good for Lazaro to be in that position where he doesn't have any threat. He's got vision. He's got teammates. There's no jungler in sight right now. Well, is in sight, rather, in the mid lane. No threat there. One grub going to Condors. They're on 4 now, trying to secure the last 2, but Kansas looking to make that move to prevent that.
They really are. That was like pretty much all their team except for Siphon.
You know, on the bot lane, Ayume getting very dangerously low. Might go down here and does end up dying to Siphon. And right there you can see just what the power of Wei looks like. Pretty much off-screen killing Ayume 100-0. And that's what I mean about picking champions that you can't really interact with. Despite having the range on Jhin, it's just not enough range to get, you know, in range of Wei.
Yeah, what was that bubble? The bubble of death, apparently.
Yeah, I forget what that ability's name is, but Hui's fantasy is that he's like a magical painter. He's got 3 forms of magic, his Q being damage magic, W being utility magic, and E being crowd control magic. So that was his EW, that's the input there, which drops this little Eye of Sauron type of thing, where if you walk into that area, it does end up rooting you. Then he followed up with his ultimate ability, dropped the QW, and speaking of QWs, QWR getting smashed by Siren, following up with the Lopachinski ultimate. One goes down, we'll see if they can turn that into another one. Wada getting really low, Yone on the backside throwing his ultimate, and everybody's getting really low. Lopachinski goes down to another snipe from Hui, and Yone's out. Another trade 1-for-1. Favoring Kansas right now, but we'll see if Condors can even that out a little bit with the Dragon, despite not having a jungler. Little bit of a risky play for him. We'll see how it pays off. If it pays off.
It might very well pay off, for all we know. We've seen this before, the feat of warfare?
Yeah, that's the kills or something like that. And you can see just how low this Drake is getting. We do end up securing it, and Condor's forced to flash, leave Fusion behind, wave goodbye, and cry. Dies for the cause, but...
Sorry, buddy, it's every man for himself right now.
Condors do end up securing that Drake. A little bit of a flub from Kansas, honestly. They should have had the foresight to realize, hey, we have the vision coming out from Hui. We're poking them on Dragon. Get Sejuani in here. Let's just smite this Drake away, turn that into a freebie for us. Thanks for the leash and walk out. But again, just way too slow from Kansas. Just not being proactive about these objectives.
Do you think the way that Kansas is playing is coming from, I don't want to call it a place of fear, but almost an uncertainty when coming against the Condors?
Maybe. I mean, their team definitely wants to get to the late game. They don't want to get too crazy early, but they're very far ahead. They're very accelerated on this way. Siphon getting so far up, actually, getting knocked up by Fusion, drops all of his abilities onto Ayume in return again. Just one-shotting Ayume. Absolutely unplayable game right now for the Jhin. Despite Hui being pretty much suffocated by Leona, still gets a kill.
Absolutely crazy. Lopachinski and Siren running together against this turret, but unfortunately they're getting a little pushed back from, you know, Kansas right now.
Yeah, and they're looking to make a rotation play here, but Hui is just way too safe. Tried to get some extra plates there. And we'll probably see this for the remainder of the game where Lopaczynski and Siren are kind of hand in hand. This is a combination that wants to be there. Matthew, the champion Wukong, is able to kind of jump in, do this little cyclone spin, knock everything up, and then Oriana can put her little ball on him, which then allows her to ultimate on top of Matt's ultimate. So he knocks him up, she sucks him in, and they all pretty much get nuked. But it's going to be really hard for them to get in range of some of these champions like the Hui, who can, again, just off-screen kill anybody that he wants to.
Yeah, which is, I don't even know, is champion nerfing a thing in League of Legends, or is that just a thing of Dreams?
So it's a thing of Mythic right now. Speaking of Mythic, we're getting a little bit crazy here with Hashiwa trying to get Siren extremely low. Great dodge there, dodging the Siphon's QW. And all these ults flying out, nobody dies. Meanwhile, on top lane, slap fight.
As always, expect the slap fights. Never expect anything really big until there's an entire team up there.
It really makes you wonder what's going on in the, actually, meanwhile, mid lane, IMA once again just way too far up, caught out there. Gets picked off, another kill for Siphon. 5 out of 6 kills on this Hui. That's really scary for the Condors.
Yeah.
This is not where you want to be, where this late game scaling champion is super accelerated, pretty much at 2 items at 15 minutes. Absolutely disgusting.
It really is. Now, I want to see Lazaro get a kill up here. It's just literally just been a slap fight up here. No kills, no nothing, just minions going down. And, you know, people hopping off into the jungle to get dragons, get void grubs, but nothing big has been happening at that top lane.
Yeah, and that's just the life of a top laner, honestly. The unsung heroes of League of Legends, stuck on an island, 1v1ing for all eternity, never really getting in kill range for this matchup, unfortunately. Jabu getting perhaps a little bit too far forward, but Archive is there off the rotation as well to make sure that nothing can go there. Lopaczynski unfortunately doesn't smite steal the Rift Herald. That's another objective secured for Kansas, and they're going to be really happy with that one. Avoided the top lane death, got an objective, and they're going to turn that most likely into a mid turret going down very, very shortly.
I wouldn't be surprised. Mid lane has been our main focus for fights, and every single thing that can go down is going down in the mid lane. Last map, it was the bot lane that we've seen it happen in, kills and things spawning in, and then that's the route that we actually took to win the game.
Yeah, this game is like a total opposite of the last one. Condors were in the driver's seat in the early game, stacking Drake, stacking objectives, stacking kills on their bot laner. But now Kansas is in the driver's seat. They're getting objectives. They've got now the Rift Herald, the Dragon in their pockets. They're happy with that. 5 kills on the Hui. They're extremely happy with that, especially when he gets involved in this next team fight, probably going to happen around the Drake mid lane area. He's going to be doing so much damage that the Condors are going to have to hope to God they can get on him and try to nuke him, get him down. But the Kansas composition here is just way too strong. They can just press R, hands off the keyboard, let the champions do the rest. Meanwhile, pressing R, Lopaczynski and Leona dropping their ultimates as well. Huge ultimate coming out of Seraphine, getting 3. Yone following it up with 2 more, and all the Condors are going down. This is what we're talking about. Kansas University's composition here. Just press R, let Jesus take the wheel. They're getting all the kills down as Condors go more and more back to their fountain, and that's an ace. That's a wipe. Kansas going to be taking mid turret, going to be taking Dragon, and right now, perhaps they're going to be taking the game.
I would not really be shocked if that is the way it goes, because if I was a Condor, I honestly would have given up. I would have alt-tabbed. How do you get around something this significant 18 minutes into a game?
Yeah, this is not a great spot to be for the Condors. They're about 3,000-4,000 gold down right now. Team fights are grim. They're very, very difficult. And they're only going to get more and more difficult as these late game scaling champions reach those late periods. They're going to have to go to the drawing board in these fights, try to calm it out. Hey, how are we going to get back into this fight? We can try to get some shutdowns, maybe catch Hui out of position if that's a possibility, try to get a flank angle there, and basically just try to dive every single person in the backline that they can, but it's just way too hard. Probably the best thing for him is to try to get some side lane pressure, try to unlock this Ambessa a little bit, enable Lazaro to play the game a little bit more aggressively, get some turrets. They do have 5 void grubs, but they haven't really been able to hit turrets with that. They tried in the bot lane earlier, ended up getting that turret, but they're slowly losing control of the map. And you can see what Lazaro is dealing with right now against that Yone, who's a little bit far ahead of him in terms of damage and gold. The Rift Herald following very closely behind the Yone. Top lane turret most likely going to go down while they pressure the mid lane. Keep this way safe, protect the President, make sure that he's able to do whatever he wants. Lopachinski getting very, very close to death there. Does end up hopping out to safety. And it's just rough for the Condors right now. Siren, speaking of rough, actually animation cancels the ultimate. Great job there to save himself. Well played. Almost ends up going down to Jabu's Warwick in the side lane, which would not be ideal for the Condors by any means, giving up more control of the map. They're slowly losing this top lane turret. Voracious Atacon coming online in the bot side very, very soon. We'll see if Hashiwa can finish off this turret, perhaps get a kill top lane on the Ambessa. Lazaro getting very, very low here. Has to be really careful as his turret is going to go down. He's forced to concede it. He's just too low.
Gotta run. Gotta get to safety. But he's staying. Okay, he's just gonna fight instead.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit too crazy. Flashes Hashiwa's ultimate ability, and he pretty much trades that for free, unfortunately. Overstepping there. Not entirely sure why. Maybe he thought Hashi was walking out. Meanwhile, once again, Lopachinski getting caught out, unfortunately, due to the lack of vision, and gets the off-screen nuke. Once again, Siphon just dumping all of his paint magic all over Lopachinski, and he goes down lickety-split.
Fusion setting up a little bit of a fight himself. Well, it's more of a one-sided fight.
Yeah, just 2 tanks, noodle fighting. Meanwhile, on the top lane, another slap fight going. Jabu just happily farming bot lane. Siren, a little bit mismatched in these waves, I gotta say. They're probably thinking that Siren could just wave clear for free, while Ambessa would have a chance to duel the Yone, but she's just a little bit too far behind to be in a position to do that. Meanwhile, Fusion walking up a little bit too far. Siren as well, getting very, very low. Warwick dropping the ult. Fusion a little bit too slow to stun him off, and we'll see if 2 Condors go down. Fusion just trying to scurry out. He's getting really low. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Hashiwa getting involved. Lopachinski flash ulting, trying to get an engage off for his team, but they're just too far. They're too low. This isn't a fight that the Condors should be taking. They're trying to pressure Kansas off of Atacon, which I guess they've done successfully, but overall, not great. Hashiwa getting our team's blue buff. It's just...
A blue buff?
A blue buff.
A blue buff. What is a blue
buff? Buff.
Are they that useful?
Yes, so it does. It gives you mana or whatever your resource is, generation, as well as cooldown reduction. So Hashiwa can press his buttons a little bit quicker.
Oh, what, like 2-3 seconds faster?
Roughly, but those seconds add up. You know what I mean?
And especially, I mean, when it's a little bit of a one-sided fight right now.
Yeah, it's not a great spot for the Condors, honestly. It's going to be very hard for them to get back to this, just being blunt about it. They have to hope for a miracle. Maybe Siphon's internet lags out. He just walks into the team, dies, gives 1,000 gold over to the Condors. But, we're praying for a miracle there in that case.
Yeah, we see the entire team going for this boss right now, while Fusion and Lopachinski kind of paying back, hoping for what I'm going to guess is
in. Yone getting a double ult. Hashiwa getting really low, but does end up jumping out. Lazaro, meanwhile, trying to finish off Hashiwa, but he's alone. 1 versus 2. He gets chopped up. Siren finding Archive on the backside of the fight. And Lopachinski, he's all alone again. 1 versus 3. Fusion jumping in 1 versus 3. And the Condors are just getting way too aggressive about it. They tried to throw everything they had at the wall. 1 desperate attempt to try to clean up the fight. They did claim the shutdown off of the way, but it cost all 5 of their lives and Atacon, unfortunately, to do so. And again, this deficit is just growing larger and larger. 5K on the board between the 2 teams right now. Atacon dropping, 2 Drakes dropping. We'll see if they take the 3rd, but they're most likely going to just set with their team. They're going to recall after this objective, get all their gold spent off of that team fight, secure that 3rd Drake, and probably look for another turret on the bot side.
That, or I would see them, in 6 minutes taking the win.
Yeah, it's definitely getting to that point, honestly. The Baron Nashor is going to be spawning in about a minute here. They're going to secure this Drake. They're probably going to put some pressure in the top side jungle, get some wards down, secure that Baron, probably wipe us again when we try to steal it, just throw everything we have at the wall and end the game shortly after.
Yeah, this game has been widely different from what we've seen last map. Condors on top. I mean, you've mentioned it. Kansas is completely 180'd. It's in their hands this entire game from the get-go, really. It's really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, and that's part of the nature of the Fearless draft. This is only going to happen once, hopefully, where they can draft these champions. They're not going to have access to the Hui. They're not going to have access to the Seraphine that can just sit back and do nothing, basically, and win the game. So we'll see how Kansas kind of adapts to that. Are they going to pick two different mage-type champions to kind of enable that same lane state? Will the Condors adapt in turn to pick a more aggressive, fight-heavy, potentially dive-heavy bot lane with a jungler paired into the mix? But this one is looking closer and closer to a defeat, unfortunately, for us. But there can still be a miracle. Maybe Lopachinski gets the steal here, buys his team another 5 minutes. Getting involved, Jabu is getting a fear, and Siren with a huge ultimate. Meanwhile, on the backside, Yone ult as well as the Seraphine ult. Siphon drops Siren, and Jabu drops Lopachinski. Meanwhile, on the backside again, huge TP out of the Yone, getting the flank off on the Jhin, killing him, and this is turning into that Baron play, just like I said, throwing everything they can to try to stop this objective, but unfortunately, it's just too much. This is David versus Goliath in the worst way possible. We're fighting an uphill battle where Kansas pretty much can do whatever they want, just like Hashiwa, just 1v2ing casually against Lazaro and Fusion. No fear, because he has the respawn here with Atacon, which I forgot he does that. The Voracious Atacon gives you an instant respawn, a revive. So despite dying there, he's back.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd objective. It's not fun to play against. You can do just like what Hashiwa did there, just run it down basically, 1 versus 2, die, and nothing really happens. You just insta respawn in base.
That's so stupid. That's actually such a meta to a degree, where you're just like, all right, I'll go take fights that I don't really need to take just because I can.
Yeah, and it definitely compounds inversely, too. If the Condors were in a substantial spot where they'd be winning that fight, Kansas would just be respawning instantaneously. So they would now be able to take a second fight off of Condors not being able to really retreat, heal, spend that gold, and they would pretty much get nothing for that fight.
Wild. We've only seen 3 turrets getting taken down.
Well, we're about to see 2 more very, very shortly as Kansas is walking down mid lane. This turret getting very, very low. Maybe an engage coming off here from Wadek. We're rooting up Fusion, who's a little bit too far. He's getting fleed now by the Hui, getting really, really low. There goes that turret. Bot side, Warwick is looking to get involved. He's looking for a flank here. He's got the leap. Lopachinski getting a quick poke off. IMA getting a root, and he's going to start sniping. Chris Kyle, he's shooting the ults. Meanwhile, Yone getting a 3-man. Seraphine dropping another 3. Jabu getting on Fusion. 2 go down for the Condors. 3 going down as well. Meanwhile, we got a huge re-engage here from Mbessa, but it's just too little too late with the Orianna ultimate. We get absolutely rolled over, unfortunately, and our base is going to be going down. That's game 2 over to Kansas in a pretty dominating fashion. Again, a complete 180 from what we saw in game 1. We're getting flashbacks, basically, for Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas decided to pull the Condors on the Condors and just go, oh, we're just going to leave the game and make you feel like you shouldn't be playing right now.
And that's GG for Kansas. Great job here to adapt. We'll see what happens in now game 3. This is where it all gets decided with Fearless Draft. We're not going to see any of the previous games worth of champions. And we'll see how the teams sort of adapt. We do have Kansas probably in this mentality where, hey, we have a better late game draft. We have better late game players. Maybe that's the same route that they're going to go. They're going to pick these team fight oriented, press R, do nothing, drool on yourself champions, whereas Condors have to get a little bit more creative. Do they want to match that, smash all our buttons, just roll your face on the keyboard to try to knock them all out of the park? Or are they going to try to play the split pushing side? It looked like that was the strategy early on when we were securing the Void Grub objectives, but we were never in a position where our team could hit those turrets to really push those side lanes. So things started to just fall apart in the team fight side, and you just saw they got rolled over.
Yeah, and that is, I don't want to call it an issue, but that's an issue that we've seen with the Condors, where these team fights are the thorn in our sides. It's something that we've been struggling with since the beginning, and obviously I don't play the game, so I'm not sure how to be like, this is what you can do differently.
Yeah, and it's really hard to say because, the Condors have been in a weird limbo with the roster, swapping different players in and out. So they're all still gelling with each other in a season where perhaps Kansas has been playing with each other for a couple years. It's hard to say. Obviously, we don't know, but that could be the situation at hand. Otherwise, as far as improvement goes, we have to make sure that we try to stem the bleeding in the bot lane. That seems to be priority number one for both these teams, just getting their bot lane accelerated. Obviously, in Game 1, it worked out for us. Game 2, as we saw, that Hui absolutely just rolled us over. Bot lane being the stars of the show, both of these games. We'll see if the Condors are able to adapt to that. If Kansas decides to say, hey, we're going to pick 2 mages, we're going to duel for 20 minutes, there's nothing you can really do about it. That gives us the onus, right? Are we going to try to challenge that? Are we going to match that? It's hard to say, but we'll see in Game 3.
Yeah, we will see you in Game 3, so stick around. So we want to see who wins. Hopefully it's the Condors.
Hopefully. Praying
Fingers
for it.
crossed. We'll see you soon.
Conestoga College is setting the stage for a new era in gaming. In 2025, we're opening a state-of-the-art esports venue, a premier facility for high-performing gamers in Canada.
In this 10,000 square foot facility, we're putting you in the center of the action. The facility will have 50 top-tier PC stations, 5 console stations, immersive VR stations, a team operations room, a full production suite, and a premier competition stage.
Esports is a rapidly evolving industry with global viewership of 532 million in 2022. This initiative goes beyond esports. It's also a platform for forging bonds, making memories, and creating connections.
Since 2020, Condors Esports continues to evolve, providing industry-leading facilities and experiences to the esports community.
Conestoga's esports venue expresses a sustainable and intentional future to compete, play, and work, all powered by gaming.
We're back. We are back. We were talking about ranks and how ranks in League of Legends works.
Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with League of Legends, it has a pretty traditional rank system. You start at the lowest end with Iron, moving into Bronze, then Silver, then Gold, then Platinum, then Emerald, which is a newer rank that was added in the last couple of years, Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, and ultimately Challenger. Obviously, some people in this lobby scattered all around that rank system. Some people peaking in Challenger, dropping down in the new season split, or just having an unlucky streak of games. Everybody's all over the place. Even on the Condor side, some historic challengers sitting pretty in Master right now, between Siren or even Lazaro, for example, there. And all of that kind of culminates into different knowledge points, different mechanical bases as well. Obviously, if you're on the higher end, you should understand the game, at least at a molecular level, a bit more than, say, an Emerald player would. But mechanically, could be all across the board.
Oh, yeah. Lopa's stressing right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I would be too, right? You had such an amazing showing against the University of Kansas, and then that immediately gets 180'd out. And it really makes you wonder how the Condors are going to adjust to this. Are they going to change any of their bans? And it looks like they might be with that Ashe. They're basically saying that they want to take the Jinx, which was historically banned in the last 2 games. Perhaps what they're thinking is to try to match the scaling here, try to slow down the game, stem the bleeding, and try to match late for late with the University of Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long game that we've been having. 2 maps now, 1-1, final map. You've gone from a great win to pretty much a 180 loss. Your mental status is probably absolutely bottom of the tank. Where do you go from here? How do you even recover that?
Yeah, and it's definitely a hard thing to do, to mentally reset after a loss like that. But these guys are no strangers to it. We've been at the top, we've been at the bottom. We know how it goes playing League of Legends. Sometimes you're riding that high, you have a great game, and then you have a bunch of inters on your team, makes your rank game unplayable, and you're mentally checked out at the 5-10 minute mark. Similarly to us, we're at the 15-minute mark. We're basically like, all right, this game is out of our hands. We're just going to be really, really desperate, throw everything we can at these team fights, try to wipe them. But obviously that didn't end up working out. Jinx being picked by the Condors in the first pick, so them not banning it was a surefire way to realize that they were looking at it. University of Kansas firing back with Jarvan and perhaps Varus. Again, 2 very strong R buttons on their side. Jarvan able to lock down the immobile Jinx, and Varus potentially being able to do the same with his skill shot, the tendrils. I don't remember what the ultimate ability is called. Literally that. He throws these little tentacle type of things that roots the champion, prevents them from moving, and then after like 2 seconds, it detonates in an AoE, an area of effect. If you're unfamiliar with that term, AoE, area of effect, which just means it's not a singular target spell. It's got a big range, a radius rather, which can hit multiple champions, root them all together at the same time, basically locking down the Condors in place.
That is, so it's a tentacle bomb is what you're saying.
In a way, yes. So Varus, again, throws his tentacles at one dude after 2 seconds. If anyone is near that original character, they're all going to get rooted as well.
That is... What is League of Legends?
In a full lockdown composition here from the side of Kansas, Conestoga firing back with a full poke composition here. So a bunch of siege champions where they're able to basically play outside the range of Kansas. They want to make sure that they keep them as far back as possible, basically saying, hey, we have more range than you. We can poke you guys out, poke you guys down, and hopefully turn that into an advantageous position for the team fights. However, Kansas has a lot of all-in potential here with the Jarvan, with the Jax. These are champions that can close the distance very, very quickly and lock down all the Condors here so far. So we're really wondering what these last 2 picks are going to be. Are they going to look to grab some disengage, some peel type champions? Milio getting banned away. He's a great option for the Condors should they want to go that route. He provides a lot of disengage there with his cute little soccer ball kick to the head, as well as an AoE heal that can help the Condors kind of stay in tip-top shape for these fights. Condors firing back with a Cassiopeia ban. That's been banned the last 2 games as well. They don't want to see that champion. Able to lock down the Condors even further, prevent them from using any of their escape tools, any of their dashes, their leaps, due to her miasma, her W spell, basically just grounding people, preventing those movement abilities rather.
Craziness.
Yeah, big brain dump here. You can only tell that played this game for 12, 13, 14 years. I don't even know what it is at this point. Can't remember.
Enough time that it's been over a decade.
Yeah, it's definitely been over a decade, unfortunately for me. Lulu getting picked up by Kansas. We can see his last two bans again. Emilio and Nautilus from the side of Kansas removed from the Condors, and Condors firing back with Cassiopeia and the Akali that was hovered in Game 1. They're really afraid of an all-out engage style composition that the University of Kansas is drafting right now. We'll see what Condors fire back. They've lost two great support options in this drafting phase. Lulu taken away, Emilio banned away as well. It looks like they're firing back with Rel, who can provide some of those disengage tools that the Condors desperately need against this composition, as well as even more engage that they currently lack. They have all the poke that they need to kind of chip away at the University of Kansas health bars, but no real way of getting into these fights.
Which, I mean, in terms of fights and getting kills, if you're just doing it from a distance, you're not going to get much. You're not going to do much. You actually, like you said, you need to get someone in there at least, like a little distraction even, a little come around from the back and smack someone upside the head and be done with it.
And these last two picks do just that. The Rel and the Galio, basically like linebackers, protecting their squishies in the back line. The Jinx, the Nidalee, the Jace, all throwing these massive damage, long-range spells from the back, but they need somebody to stand in front. Rel and Galio both able to do that. They play off of each other, have a lot of different lockdown options between their champion kits. Rel able to basically just jump in, pull everybody in similar to the way Orianna ult works. And Galio able to follow that up. He kind of jumps off the top rope, goes into the sky, flies in on the Rel, slams down, knocks everybody up. So we'll see how these fights kind of go. Kansas, again, has a lot of different tools at their disposal. They have some matching in that siege sort of composition between the Varus and the Corki, two very long-range champions, but they also have the Jax and the Jarvan, two extremely big threats to the Condors backline. We'll see how this sort of goes if the Condors are able to block them out with their two linebackers, the Rel on Fusion and the Galio on Siren. Are they able to protect their squishy backline, these little champions with amazing range tools, but not a lot of options in the close range department?
Calling them the squishy backline, it makes me, I don't know why, but my brain goes, oh, they're like little gummy bears. You set up little gummy bears, and then you got, I don't know, some animal crackers being pushed forward, if we're going to use it food terms to describe this.
Yeah, it's definitely a weirder league term, right? Squishies
Yeah.
being those that are very, very weak, very, very prone to dying fast. Which is what those champions exactly are. The Jinx, the Nidalee, the Jace to some extent. They can absolutely get one-tapped by the Jarvan combination of ultimates with Jax following up. Maybe Varus throwing in a snipe from the back as well. There's a lot of different threats that the Condors have to kind of dance with. Are they able to chip down these Kansas players? Are they able to find those fights where, hey, they have the HP advantage simply because they were able to kind of play this linebacker style, this football composition, this phalanx, where you have these two big-bodied individuals, the Galio, the Rel, basically preventing any sort of engage coming from the side of Kansas. But they have a lot of different options between the Jarvan flanks, the Jax flanks. They can find some creative angles to absolutely detonate our backline and take the fights throughout the game.
So what you're saying is it really comes down to us using our brains and just actually being strategic with what we're doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of setup for the Condors. They have to find these advantageous spots where they have vision to prevent their backline from getting flanked. They're able to siege and get those damage spells off. Again, trying to get those HP advantages before the fights really take place. On your screen right now, Valorant Academy. Looks like they're having a great time.
I can't see the score right now.
Can't see the
honestly.
score, but they're having a great time. We're zooming in
Are
here.
we winning? We are majorly
10-3.
winning.
Yeah, they were definitely in high spirits. They were really confident going into this game. They've been doing a lot of prep work. Team was in high spirits, all having a great time. 5 queuing before their series, and it looks like it's paying off. 10-3 so far for them.
They're doing good.
They're doing great. Hopefully their energy kind of has a trickles
Send
off
it
into
to
the
varsity
team.
Send it over. Send the good energy. Send them your vibes. Send them your win.
Yeah, hopefully that's able to happen here with the Condors varsity team. We're going to cut to a quick break before we get into the game. The action is coming very, very shortly. Get some water in you, take a quick bathroom break, and we'll see you in a bit.
If a career in esports sounds wow to you, it's not. This is where your profession plus your passion could come together. Would still need what traditional business would need. The more distinct difference is in traditional sports, no one owns the ball. But in esports, someone does own the game. And this is part of what we're going to discuss in this program. You'd be able to learn how to run an esports event on the operations side to the management side of it. Marketing and promotions, how to deal with sponsorships, how to deal with partnerships, and also a big part of our industry is social media as well. What you're working on now is probably also needed. This industry needs all kinds of professionals. If you're looking for change, this program could be a converging point. Good luck and have fun.
Esports is for everybody. That's what makes this so special, where there's not a lot of barrier to entry. It's, do you have a passion for gaming? That's all it really takes. There's so many different things involved in this. It really does take that full team to make a successful event run. And that's what this program does. You got the lighting going on, you got the video capture going on, you got the whole production crew that are packaging this all together, you have the shoutcasting that's happening. We want to be, that pinnacle for esports. We want students to come here, learn from industry best, and launch their careers in esports. You have that new arena that's being built. To have that investment through the college, it proves a lot. We're invested in this. This can lead to something really big and something really neat and something that you're really invested in. It's $1 billion industry, and we really can't wait to see where this goes.
Hey, we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back and ready to consume some more League of Legends action. Game 3, Game 7 scenario. Hopefully for the Condors here as we're getting ready to load into the Summer's Rift.
Do or die moment.
Do or die for both teams. And we saw polar opposites game 1, game 2. Feels like a fever dream. We saw Condors roll over Kansas and Kansas roll over Condors.
Nice little back and forth. Some noodle fights, I guess. Just
Yeah,
like a top lane.
Yeah, and that's the way it goes with League of Legends. Sometimes you live by the sword, sometimes you die by the sword, die by the pool noodle. Hopefully that doesn't end up going the way in Game 3 as we're loading in very, very shortly. If you missed the draft, sort of break it down, the Condors have this sort of Phalanx-style draft. 2 major frontliners between the Rel in the bot lane and the Galio in the mid lane, with a lot of backline support with Jace, with Nidalee, with the Jinx. Whereas the Kansas draft, they have a bunch of pole vaulters, basically. They're able to jump over that front line between the Jax, between the Jax and the Jarvan, being able to get involved, kind of ignore the frontliners in a way, even getting through them in the side of Jarvan. So we'll see how it goes for the Condors. Are they able to keep their squishies in the backline alive? Are they able to damage dump before the fights sort of happen? Or are they going to fall behind like they did in Game 2?
We might also see just everyone throw yourself into that fight and hope you get a kill.
Yeah, and that's probably what we'll see from the Kansas side with the Jarvan and the Jax basically just throwing themselves into the Condors team. We'll see how the damage sources kind of pump out with Hashiwa on the Corki, with Siphon on the Varus. Are they able to scale up to a point where they can damage dump, follow up their frontliners, their engagers, and nuke the Condors frontline? Or are they able to just take them off in the backline?
I'm pretty sure I just seen a minigun come out of that man.
Yeah, so that's Jace. If you've seen Arcane on Netflix, not sponsored, he is a prominent character in that show, as he is in the game. His ultimate ability, he's what's called a shapeshifter. Oh, actually, Siren getting dangerously low here early. Shapeshifters are a class in League of Legends. Actually, Condors, funnily enough, have 2 of them. Engage missing here from Fusion, Poke missing as well, unfortunately. But Jace and Nidalee start the game with their ultimate abilities at level 1. Nidalee able to turn into a cougar form. Lazaro's Jace able to either have a big hammer or a big gun, similarly to what he just did on the screen right there.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, honestly. If we compare the classes here, like I said, the Jace kind of fits 2 different molds in that shapeshifter scenario. He has that ranged form with the cannon, the minigun, whatever you want to call it. And he has the hammer as well, where he can kind of engage, disengage. He has some tools at his disposal. Face-checking Waddick in the jungle, maybe be able to turn this into a kill. Cancels the dash and forces the flash from Waddick. Great play from Lazaro. Great heads-up play. Probably off the communication from the team wondering, hey, this guy is most likely going to get aggressive in the top lane. Fusion also getting aggressive, trying to find Siphon, gets the double stun, and Ignite gets dropped really, really early. Siphon getting dangerously low, pops the barrier. Fusion hopping in, unfortunately isn't able to follow it up with Ayuman. Siphon happy to be alive, honestly.
I think Fusion is as well. They both kind of got down to a very even level of health, which was a little sketchy, but Lopachinski came in and then almost died.
Everybody getting extremely low. Fusion perhaps getting too low. First blood over to Kansas. Varus dropping a nuke. We'll see if he gets the double kill. There it is. And once again, the Condors falling behind in the early game on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, the only time we really saw a win today and almost overall is when our bot lane is the strongest, where that's where we're getting our kills, that's where we're getting essentially a lot of gold from. It's just that bot lane heaviness.
Yeah, it's definitely the highlight of the show, honestly. Like we said in game 1, it's the most dangerous spot on the map. You have 2 champions basically fist fighting the entire time. Twice the champions, twice the fighting, twice the death. Unfortunately, that engage didn't go the way of the Condors. They weren't able to secure the kill. Great heads-up play from Kansas to kind of return fire. Net a double kill over to Siphon, who's sitting pretty now with a pickaxe and a couple of different component items as well. 2 Jinx's singular dagger. It's about, I don't know, 1,200 gold difference already off the rip, just in the bot lane.
Wow. All from those, what, 2 kills and minions?
Yep, just from those 2 kills, honestly.
Well, I think we might be seeing a lot more, because there's everyone starting to come in. Fusion and Asume just kind of lurking. Lopachinski doing what he does best in the jungle. Lazaro also just
Doing what he does best.
Literally.
Hitting minions, hitting champions, just chilling.
Enjoying his life up there until people start coming at him.
Yeah, just having a great time just farming. We'll see this Jax try to go down, get some vision in the topside jungle most likely. Looks like to just drop it in the river, playing it safe. Jarvan maybe spotted out Lopachinski at the Raptor pit in the bot side of the map. He's looking to get involved. I'm sure the Condors are aware, hey, this blast cone just popped behind us, and they actually didn't notice it. They're not aware that the Jarvan's behind them. And we'll see if he does end up getting this gank off. Lazaro getting a little bit of chip damage on Jablu, trying to get some big damage on him. Unfortunately, in the bot lane, Waddick not able to actually transfer this into a successful gank opportunity. Great job from the Condors to cancel his dash, almost forcing a kill there, but unfortunately they burned Ignite. So Fusion is down a Summoner spell in this lane, where they definitely don't want to be at any sort of disadvantage. Any more so than they already are.
Yeah, I mean, they can always come back. This is still, 6 minutes in. Anything can happen at this point.
Meanwhile, top lane, big slap fight. Pool noodles going crazy.
Hey, those noodles can get very painful really quickly.
And Jax happy to walk this one out. Jaboo going to reset. Siren getting involved on Hashiwa, trying to chip him down, but maybe getting a little bit too handsy there, biting off more than he can chew. Hashiwa dropping Siren down way too low. Double flash committed there. Isn't able to secure the kill. Lucky from Siren. Very, very fortunate there. Overstepping, reading the situation, probably thinking he had more damage than he had, or more survivability.
Is insane to get out with.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very lucky scenario for us that we're not falling even more behind than we already are. Condors losing the Dragon, losing the Void Grubs. It's already slipping a little bit in the early game. They have to try to get a little bit more involved with the map. They're just getting a little bit too crazy, trying to push advantages that they don't have. And they definitely have to read these situations a little bit better.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, a lot of it is just hoping that you get something out of your encounter that you're going towards. A lot of these fights are kind of, you hop in and then they start running away, and you kind of just, instead of challenging, you kind of just step back and hold back, and I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see if the hopping in comes out from Lazaro here, who's looking to get pretty aggressive on Jaboo. Unfortunately, doesn't get the empowered knockback, but does end up engaging. Jaboo happy to shake that one off. Was a pretty close call there from being a solo kill.
It was very close. He got real
Lopachinski, though, in the wings. Perhaps maybe finding Jaboo gets him, and that's a great kill secure there. Caught Jaboo with his pants down, unfortunately. Wasn't paying attention to that. Jarvan didn't see him. Wasn't on his bingo card there of things that could happen.
Yeah, and I mean, Siren here is holding down mid lane pretty well. Even bot lane is doing, even though they got killed off rip pretty much, they're holding their own pretty decent. We're seeing they're in the middle of bot lane.
Yeah, they're playing aggressive. They have the vision there in the river. They were able to thwart that gank from Waddick a little bit ago, able to burn his flash, I believe. Again, which pretty much makes him not really a threat there. Further decreasing his range. Not useless, just reducing his range, basically. How impactful his engages can be, because he can flash. So Jarvan, this champion, his whole gimmick is the flag and drag. Okay. So he'll throw a spear, basically, pull himself to it, and knock up any champions on that path. So you'll see, most likely in these team fights, he'll just kind of fly across the screen, kind of glide, and then drop his ultimate, the Cataclysm, put everybody in this little arena that his team can then hopefully clean up with.
Oof. Little, some Romans in the Colosseum.
Yeah, that's what I meant by the pole vaulter. So he can just kind of like fly in. You can see the flag there, the little purple flag with the skin, the Dark Star skin. A little bit harder to see visually, but that's that also boosts his teammates' attack speed. Fun fact.
That must be nice.
Just a quick little tidbit there of information.
Little knowledge from the Great One.
I wish.
In this setting, you are the Great One, Gary. Saving grace. The bringer of knowledge.
speaking of knowledge, the Amp Tome has been converted from a book to a Rage Blade rather, for Varus, who's very, very strong now. He's starting to get his items online. Foregoing boots to Jinx's boots, reducing his attack speed, force a flash out, Siren on the flank. They're just giving up Archive. There's nothing that they can really do there. Great play from the Condors to try to isolate these bot laners who are playing a little bit too aggressive. They have this lead and they think that they can do a lot with it. Lopachinski forcing barrier from Siphon for some reason. Odd Summoner Spell usage there, but maybe he thought he was under more threat than he actually was. Hard to say.
Maybe a little misclick of a finger, a little fat finger moment.
Quick little panic, perhaps,
Yeah.
something like that. Top lane, noodle fight, we already know what's going on there. Let's go bot lane. Siren just trying to survive in this lane, trying to get his minions without losing his entire health bar. Corki just throwing little missiles at him, throwing different types of bombs. And there's the dunk from the Jarvan. Cataclysm locking in Lopachinski. Meanwhile, Fusion getting involved, finds two on the side, but Varus getting a kill there, sorry, on the Jinx, who just had no answer to the knockup from the Jarvan. Fusion trying to get by on his horse. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Lazaro, Lopachinski trying to find Jabu, flashes out, and he is perfectly safe. Meanwhile, Waddick actually trying to re-engage, but his team is falling close behind. Hopefully the Condors realize this is a losing fight, and they do end up realizing that, converting this into more Void Grubs for Kansas.
I mean, from what it's looking like, we're watching another game one, which might go in favor of the Condors, knock on wood. As long as we can play our game right, strategize properly, and what we say we're going to do, we actually do.
And you can see here Fusion getting involved with Siren following up with a huge ultimate. Lazaro picking up two and a shutdown. We'll see if they clean up the Jace. Heat goes down, Archive going down, and that's a triple kill over to Lazaro. 4 Kansas University members going down for the Void Grubs, just not seeing that threat coming from the Condors. Great play from them to sort of even things out and now propel themselves. They're in the driver's seat, up 2,000 gold. They mitigated that bot lane loss a little bit, and now all the gold is on Lazaro. I bet he's having a great time here after playing games 1 and 2, just noodle fighting. He finally has a weapon in his hands, and he's able to be an aggressor in this game.
He can finally actually make a meaningful, impactful swing using his champion. It's very nice to see. He's no longer getting bullied. He is doing the bullying. 2,000
gold up from Jace and Jax. Huge position for Lazaro to be the star of the show. Unfortunately, Condors not able to secure this dragon, doing it without proper setup here. No vision on their side. No real support, unfortunately. Siren not able to rotate, no ultimate ability. And it ends up going the way of Kansas in terms of the Drake.
It happens. They can have the 2 Drakes. It's fine.
Yeah, as long as they
way.
can keep their foot on the gas pedal here, making sure that Lazaro is able to be impactful in these fights. Him and Lopachinski, Lazaro Lopachinski, they have a lot of gold in their pockets right now. You can see the Jace, absolutely massive, has the Spear Shojin and the Coalfield Warhammer. He's got a ton of extra damage at his disposal. If he can shoot these empowered Qs when he puts the Warp Gate, shoots this little ball through it, if those things hit, he's going to be able to chunk probably half of a health bar of whatever he hits at this point.
Wow. Essentially like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah, throwing like a wrecking ball basically through, I don't know, a boost gate, Mario Kart boost gate or something.
An 18-wheeler hitting a little tiny, one of those smart cars pretty much.
Yeah, hitting like this Jax, for example, who ends up parrying it with this E-spell. Great usage there. Would have seen him drop to probably 70% of his health bar there.
Very painful. Big ouch.
And actually, the Jax is itemizing defensively now. He bought a chain vest that you can see there, his 3rd item slot. So he wants to be in a more survivable position here. He doesn't want to take those pokes, just get his health chipped away. It's going to reduce his damage, but ultimately the trade-off is more survivability.
Hopefully he can actually use it, or not. And the Condors defense, we want him to not use it.
We'll see. Flash coming forward from Siphon. He's lowering Ayume's health bar, getting him extremely low, drops the Revenge Talons, and he goes down very, very quickly. And Ayume, again, just out of position, unfortunately. He had no support, a little bit too far up for comfort, and Kansas able to punish that. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Lazaro and Lopachinski look to get Jabu, who finds himself in a similar position, way too far forward. He gets slain by Lopachinski, and they're going to try to turn that into a top lane tier 1 turret.
Hopefully. I mean, that was a really nice, to a degree, a version of an exchange of kills. You know, you got Asume getting taken out, and then Lopachinski and Lazaro are stellar duo right now, just absolutely running through this top lane.
And we'll see how these team fights go. These two are absolutely huge right now. Two big monsters in the top lane, and they'll be able to exert that range in these team fights, hopefully. The Manamune getting locked in by the Jace. He's at 225 stacks, sitting pretty, going to turn that into a Mermana, empower his damage even more already at the 15-minute mark. Absolutely tremendous from Lazaro. He's sitting pretty. He's got a ton of damage ready to go. We'll see how he looks to use this while the Condors sort of posture in the top side. They're looking for this Rift Herald spawning in about 4 minutes.
How do you see when it's going to spawn it?
I think I'm actually wrong. So I'm looking at the little hourglass thing in the pit.
Oh,
if you're
okay.
looking at the minimap, it's spawning right now, actually not in 4 minutes. That's Baron that's spawning in 4 minutes. My mistake there.
So that's how you know it spawns in. Half the time, Curtis and I were sitting here like, oh, look, it's spawned in.
Speaking
Ooh.
of spawning in, Siren off the top rope finds Siphon with an amazing engage from Fusion, and the Condors slowly but surely aggressing more and more into the siege-style composition that they have. Kansas just not able to match it. For some reason, Waddock way too far forward. He's getting chipped down, manages to flag and drag out, and he gets away with his life. Condors most certainly turning this into a Rift Herald objective, furthering their pushing power. They're up 2 turrets at this point between top and mid, down 1 in the bot lane, but they don't really care. They're going to turn this into a Rift Herald, another top side objective, and they're going to try to open up that mid lane even more so, take that tier 2 turret, and just really crack open the map.
Some very nice teamwork going on between the Condors. We kind of, every so often I'll find them almost, not necessarily a solo mission, but very, you know, 1 or 2 players going off and doing whatever, but the teamwork is really coming together, much like we've seen in map 1.
Yeah, and this is part of the draft. I mean, the Condors are sitting pretty. They have a very, very comfortable set of champions here between the Jace and the Nidalee. Sort of like a Hail Mary play, this back pocket play that they have with these champions. Very, very strong familiarity with them. And they're starting to really show what this comp is all about. They have amazing engage potential with Thorel, who's able to just brute force her way onto multiple champions. Galio's able to follow it up, flying high in the sky, flying right down to the ground, rocketing, propelling everybody up, and all the follow-up comes with these long-range spells. Obviously, you have your Jinx from far range shooting her minigun or her rockets. You have Jace shooting his empowered Q, Nidalee throwing her spears, and meanwhile, you can see a flag and drag happening here. Waddock in the backside, Fusion trying to engage, Siren following it up, and Kansas is just forced to get out. Meanwhile, JQ has a big flank on Ayame, re-engage from Waddock. Ayame goes down, but there's nothing left in the tank. Lazaro is just able to roll through the team. We'll see if he can pick up any more. Siren dropping down for the team, making sure his Jace is able to get out with his life. And 3 Condors go down for 2, but they may be able to turn this into a dragon.
Well, considering that Kansas is now wandering away from said dragon, I would not be surprised.
We're going to see a Rift Herald drift here. Here we go. Boom! There it is. Amazing impact play. We're going for a second one. Here we go. Ramping it up. He's drifting. He's going. He's accelerating. Boom! There it goes. Jack's in the bush. Just a little bush wookie there. Loses a ton of HP there, but Lulu able to save him. And the Condors able to make lemons with lemonade, or lemonade with lemons, rather. Oops.
I mean, hey, if you can make lemons out of lemonade, that is increasingly even more impressive.
Just, yeah, I don't know. Just reverse alchemy or something there. Don't know what's on my brain, but Drake being turned into a objective secured by the Condors. And we'll see what they decide to do with this newfound pressure. They've opened up the first layer of the map, knocking down every tier 1 turret. This Jace pick, the Lazaro's getting absolutely massive. 5-0-4, 550 gold bounty on his head. And you know that he's a big red target here for Kansas. They're going to be looking at him. He's a juicy little paycheck. We want to make sure we cash that in. Hopefully on the side of Varus, perhaps even the Corki, who are both just scaling. They're getting ready to get involved in these fights. This isn't the part of the game where they sort of shine. So it's not too bad for them in this sense.
Doing pretty good. I mean, we got 2 wanted criminals on our team, so that's very nice, very lovely to see. In the game of League of Legends, we want that.
Yeah, 3 criminals if you count Jinx from Arcane. There's another plug there. Again, not sponsored. Great show, though.
I've yet to actually watch it.
It's all right, honestly. Season 1 is pretty good. Season 2 is a little rushed, but it's all right overall.
I feel like that tends to happen with certain series. Everything after Season 1, if it's a huge hit, becomes very rushed because they want to keep the fan base.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, too. Season 1 was such a smash success, and they had a year to develop Season 2, but it just felt a little bit too fast in the end. No spoilers here, but great show overall, honestly. If you want to get into League from a lore side of things, you can learn about Zon. Zon and Piltover, rather, which is like this different dichotomy where you have this really high-tech, high society versus like these slums in the side of Zon, where Jinx is natively from. Vi in Game 1, her sister in the show.
Some lore right there.
Yeah, big nerd this game.
Listen, on the Condors Esports live streams, we like having nerds casting. You bring fun and insight to the games, and we need that.
And we'll see if we can get some more support here for Condors as they're looking to increase their pressure here on the top side. Baron's coming up in the next 4 minutes. They want to make sure that they have the wards down. They want to make sure that Kansas doesn't have any wards down. Lopachinski's sweeping one off the grid. Probably going to get another one here with the Oracle sweep. And we'll see what happens here for Kansas. They're walking down, 3-manning mid lane, perhaps able to catch Ayume out. He realizes he's in danger, needs to play a little bit further back as these guys sort of rotate around. You got a little wolf pack here with Jarvan in the front. The President, Siphon on the Varus as well. Building a hull breaker of all things, so interesting item choice from there. Getting a little bit more survivability, a little bit more split pushing power. Interesting choice, honestly. I'm not sure what to say. I'm not sure if that's a meta item or what's really going on, since Yuntal is now a meta item for Jinx, the first item there in her slot, those 2 arrow-looking things. As well as an Infinity Edge coming up shortly, too.
Wow.
Basically a lot of damage.
Big booms.
Big booms
Big
coming
booms.
soon.
Big booms, lots of kills. Hopefully not, though, because the Condors are doing pretty well compared to what Map 2 looked like for us.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting game 3 rather, because we can see both of these teams kind of going the distance. On the side of Condors, Jace, Nidalee, and Jinx, massive scalers. They have amazing late game damage, late game threat, whereas Kansas really doesn't have the same amount of threat. They have the Corki with the range, they have Varus with the range as well. But they can get blown up pretty quickly. The Jack's not going to be as strong or impactful as the Jace in the later stages of the game. Jarvan is basically just going to be an alt bot, basically just flag and dragging, trying to drop that cage on as many Condors as possible. And Lulu's just going to sit in the back and throw little shields on Siphon.
Lulu's going to contribute the least amount.
Yeah, basically Archive's entire game is pressing E and or W and or R on Siphon.
Interesting.
Great role support. Enchanters. The Enchanter class, rather.
Well, we'll see if... Oh, Lopachinski almost found a fight there for himself. We're going to see how many more team fights we can win for Condors, and whether they're going to hold off until that Baron comes out and they got to fight for it, or if Kansas is just going to once again sit back and just watch the Condors take everything for themselves.
Yeah, they're trying to take early aggression here on our bot side, trying to get some vision down for the Dragon, trying to secure a third one. Ult coming out from Siphon, forcing Lopachinski flash and chunking him down to about 20%. Meanwhile, a re-engage potentially burning the flash of Siphon on the flip side. So 2 flashes gained, nobody dies, and this is all right before the Dragon spawning. Definitely favoring the Condors ahead of this fight.
I hope so. I just want to see them take an actual dub, take a win, make them nice and happy over there in the hub.
And you can see each team is just handshaking different sides of the map. Kansas looking to get aggressive on the top side. Perhaps looking for this Baron a bit too early. Not sure what the decision making is here. Condors just falling close behind. They want to make sure that they don't get the setup that they want. Bizarre unfortunately missing his EQ combo there. And on the bot side, we have Lopachinski soloing the Dragon. So Condors are happy here to just stall, just show some aggression, not really do anything. Try to prevent Kansas from really doing anything about this Dragon player. And it goes down.
Lopachinski, the man of a solo battle. Do a lot.
I think Kansas thought the Baron was coming up. That might have been the handshake play that they thought. Not entirely sure why, but it is what it is.
And they've cleared out. The Condors have cleared them out, can probably more than likely take this Baron for themselves, as Kansas is fighting minions.
They definitely have the damage for it, but they're a little bit too afraid to do something like that right now with the map pressure. Corki TPing in the top side, Commodore starting Otacon. We'll see if they're able to secure this. It's dropping to about 50% HP here, but you can see the flank looking from Jax, who's trying to get involved. Condors have no ability to finish this. They have to give it up, switch their focus over to the Rift Scuttler, and probably move into the mid wave. Try to start pushing these minions out, try to get that map pressure back. They're losing the top side pressure. For some reason, re-engaging on Atacon. We'll see what happens here on the side of Kansas. Are they aware of it? Are they pinging it? They are. They're flanking. They got a pincer maneuver here. Jax in the front, Jarvan on the side, and Lulu Varus in the back. Condors, again, resetting Atacon. Not really sure what's going on, what the communication's like. Seems like they're a little bit split on their focus. They don't know what they should be doing. Losing their top turret, about half of its total health pool, and nothing's really going down.
Yeah, it's very strange. My first thought is, are they trying to use it as a bait to get Kansas to them to come engage in some sort of fight, to figure out where they are? Because we only see one Kansas player. Everyone else is kind of over in mid and doing whatever, really, while letting the Condors just have full reign of the map.
Yeah, that's definitely a great thought, honestly. It's not something that I was even considering, but it could have just been that, hey, let's bait Atacon. Let's see if they decide to engage on us. We'll be able to kite out, re-engage, have the Rel, the Galio 1-2 combo. But I don't know. They decided to just walk it out, make sure that nobody dies, playing it safe, keeping those bounties in our pockets, making sure that Kansas doesn't end up cashing in those checks, just happily farming away, trying to get back into an advantageous state on the map.
Yeah, and Kansas is really doing some team hand-holding as we see a little bit of a fight go down here, but once again, Kansas disengages as a team, going over to where Baron is, seeing if they can get something out of it, but
yeah, just trying to get a cheese right here. They're trying to set up a trap with these bushes, just waiting around to see if they'll be able to catch Fusion or somebody out of position. Great heads-up play there from IMA, able to scout that out, realizing, hey, something's weird. These guys disappeared from mid. They're not showing top. They're obviously not on Baron. What's going on?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird plays strategizing way of Kansas as they're all channeling away now. Is Kansas okay? What is it actually going on?
We'll see. They're looking to recall out of here. Waduk realizing, hey, they're aware of this. I'll just take the damage, make sure you guys get out, and I'll just walk backwards.
Yeah, and they didn't really go that. They're all coming right back to where they just were, where they know the Condors are. There's going to more than likely be some sort of engagement. Whether there'll be kills, who knows? We haven't really seen a whole lot of kills really going into the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, it's definitely a much slower paced game compared to the last two. And I think both teams realize that there's a lot of pressure on this one. There's a lot on the line. Condors are able to kind of just cruise on this one. They don't really have to press the pace like they did in Game 1 and Game 2 to try to get back into it. Here, they're happily stacking away. They're late scaling team comp. They have a lot of threat options in the back line. And their frontliners, the Galio and the Rel, are pretty much untouchable right now as it is. The only real damage that the Kansas side has right now is the Varus. A little bit on the Corki, but not too much. So it's definitely a struggle for them to try to break through that armor, to try to get to those, the squishies in the back line. Similarly like, I don't know, I forgot what I was trying to say, but it's definitely a hard spot to be if you're Kansas right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that. Condors is kind of replicating what they did in Map 1, and if you missed that, Condors did take Map 1, Kansas took Map 2, where the aggressor was obviously the big defining factor in who won the map. Condors, we are seeing that aggression from them once again, but Kansas isn't really returning or giving them anything like they did in Map 1.
Yeah, they're trying to really find that perfect initiation here, whether that comes from Waddock on the Jarvan or Jabu on the on the Jax. They want to make sure that they have these high impact champions, finding the backline here, whether that's IMA. Most likely they're going to be eyeing Lopachinski, who's a major threat here. Jace, extremely hard to kill with his items right now, has a lot of bonus health, has a lot of extra survivability on the champion, and a ton of damage. He's able to self-peel, so not as vulnerable as the Jinx would be, especially in a Jarvan cage scenario.
Well, as we get back into the game, finally, I bet the players are also saying that we're going to see how Kansas is going to return everything. They're obviously going after minions, which is something that they love to do, as most League of Legends players do. That's free gold.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trade here where Kansas is basically trying to control the mid wave, trying to get some threat there to control that side of the map, whereas Condors are returning fire on the top side. So it's a bit of a trade there, kind of favoring us. We can get a little bit more crazy on the Baron should we choose to pull the trigger, but it's a lot harder for us to do so, where IMA is a little bit out of position. Flag and drag coming out of Waddock and the Cataclysm as well, dropping to 50% HP. And no kill there, but a very crucial cooldown burn there where the Jinx no longer has flash. She has no get out of jail free card, no escape for the next team fight.
Ooh, that's not good, but we've also seen these boys work very well in these teams fight. And obviously now we're seeing them go after this Atacon, which we've seen them go after before, and then they backed off, and then they went for it, and then they backed off. So whether they'll actually fully go for it, we're about to see.
Yeah, this should be going down pretty quick. There's not a lot Kansas can do here. They're just way too slow on the punch. They might be able to get a quick engage here, but Fusion able to catch out Jabu. Jabu's going in, but he's taking the hero's way out. Shut down for some reason, claimed on the Jace. Once again, another kill. He is absolutely massive. You know that Lazaro's having a good time.
Oh, this is Lazaro's game pretty much with how it's going. I mean, his bounty just keeps getting more and more, almost at the like 1K mark.
You can see a huge spear there from Lopachinski. Takes half of Siphon's HP, takes another 30%. He gets insta-killed. Huge engage coming out of Fusion. Follow-up from Siren. They're not able to get any more. Biting off way too much there on the side of Kansas, thinking that they could step up to the party, and that's what I was talking about in draft. They have so much range, so much damage, that all it takes is one of these spells to hit from max range, and you lose your entire health bar.
Absolutely. This is just craziness. We see, you know, Fusion and Siren working together to hold off those Kansas players, which, do we really need it? Kind of not.
There.
Kansas is not looking great right now. They're not looking very hot.
Yeah, they're kind of falling apart. They're trying to get out of dodge here between Waddock and all the different setup tools they have here with Siren just sticking to him. Jabu looking for a re-engage just to make sure his jungler gets out of dodge. And they're going to turn this into yet another dragon. 3 Infernal Drakes to the side of Condors, creeping ever so slightly more to the Infernal Soul.
Some very nice plays from the Condors. Kansas acting in team fights much like the Condors did last map, where they kind of just, all right, just throw whatever you can in there and hope that something comes of it, and ultimately nothing really comes of it. So it's very nice to see that 180 from the Condors doing that to Kansas now doing that.
Yeah, it's really hard for Kansas. They have this idea in their head where they need the Jax and the Jarvan to flank, but that in turn means that their backliners, their squishies, have no one to stand in front of them to tank these big damage spells, to tank that Nidalee Spear, to tank the Jace EQ combo, to tank any sort of damage that IMA can pump out. You just have nobody to stand in front. You don't have the linebackers that the Condors do. You have Siren and Fusion, these massive forces of destruction just sitting there eating all the damage for breakfast, shaking it off, laughing it off, and just continuing the assault.
Yeah, and I mean, even the other players, our squishy players as you call them, they're doing well holding their own. Like, they aren't really, I mean, Lazaro's over here at 6-0-4.
Yeah, great scoreline for him. Siren in a 1v2 situation. You can see he's tanking up a lot of damage here, dropping to 50%. Flag and drag coming out of Waddock, and he ends up popping kill over to Corki, his first one of the game. And you can see he's finally starting to get online. 3 items on the Corki, going to be recalling. Condors probably getting 1 turret, getting out. They know that they don't have the threat to kind of push this objective further into the inhibitor. They're happy with that one, though.
Very happy. And Siren with the very long respawn wait time right now. Do a little bit of a thumb twiddling, a think of your next move once you spawn back in type deal.
Yeah, they're probably communicating what the next fight looks like. They do still have Baron, but not for much longer. Their pushing power is going to kind of subside a little bit, but they're still able to siege once Siren's back on the map. They have these two big bodies up in front to just basically allow Lopachinski, Ayume, and Lazaro to play whatever they want. Just dump their spells every so often. Have a great time. If they hit something, it'll take about half the health bar on any sort of target.
Insanity that is a thing that can happen. Just, there goes half your health.
League of Legends.
I love esports where you can, to explain something, you just say the game title and it just makes sense.
This is League of Legends. Wadek trying to flag and drag Cage the Jinx, but doesn't end up getting in range. Fusion, great stun on him. Lazaro, Lopachinski, these duo taking another top turret together. That's another huge pocket of gold going over to the Jace on Lazaro. He's absolutely massive. I mean, he's one item away from being full build at this point, compared to literally everybody else who's 2, maybe 3 away.
Absolutely insane. It's Lazaro's game. Yeah.
This is what he waited for. Game 3 Lazaro. You know, game 1 and 2, he just had to sit there and take it. The unsung hero of the side lane, now able to express himself in a more mechanical way, able to actually get involved with the game a little bit more, interact with his team, and interact with the other champions.
Very nice to see. A little bit of a different side of Lazaro that we normally don't see. Usually he's just sitting top lane getting beaten around and backed into behind turrets with 3 of the enemies going at him, and he just can't really do much to get out of it.
Yeah, the lane swap meta is not a fun one. Thankfully, both teams here handshake gentleman's agreement that they're not going to be doing that, because it is an absolutely miserable experience to play and an even worse one to watch, where you send 2 up top and the top laner's pretty much just sitting there. And on the reverse side too, you just have enemy top laners soaking against the bot lane. Try to get out of those tough matchups in the bot lane, make sure that both sides are able to secure an advantage in a way. Not a great game state. Thank God they're changing it finally. We'll see if that system hopefully puts a nail in the coffin for the last time of the lane swap meta. We never see that again. And we just go back to the, oh my God, a massive spear from Lopachinski, but he gets chunked out. Flash Cataclysm coming from Wadek and a shutdown for the Varus. We'll see if the Condors are able to salvage this one. A huge re-engage from Fusion, but he's just way too far forward. Gets out, does not actually. Siphon gets another kill there, and 2 Condors pop off of a little bit of a misstep from Lopachinski.
Wow, that is unfortunate to see Lopa go down. The first kill on that man. Very unfortunate plays. Good on Kansas for actually seeing that opportunity and seizing it for once.
Yeah, there's still some life behind their eyes. They're not letting themselves go into the night quietly. Fighting for every piece of the Summoner's Rift that they can, clawing back every inch ahead of this final dragon. We'll see how the teams decide to prioritize this. Are they going to trade the Dragon's Soul for the Baron? Are they going to all in for the Dragon, which seems like the most likely scenario here, as the Condors are a little bit late to the map, now with the respawn timers being online. But will the Kansas University have the foresight to do something about it? They get almost a free kill on Ayume, who's out of position once again. Probably going to have to go for a smite steal here. We'll see what they decide to do. Kansas pulling this one back. It seems like they're a little bit split. They're not sure. Siren in the backline gets a huge flash initiation there. We'll see how the follow-up goes. He gets blown up. Meanwhile, on the backside, Lazaro and Ayume getting put in the cage. Lazaro finishing off Wadek. Re-engage coming out of Fusion. Siphon gets the kill on Fusion, and everybody's going down. Siphon free-firing, triple kills there. And that's a tough break for Condors Esports. Lazaro's still alive, however, gets the EQ off, takes about 20% of Siphon's HP away, but there's no real agency that he can do for this Infernal Drake. It's now 3-3 in the Dragon department, 3 kills on the side of Kansas, dropped as well, and it's looking like we have a game on our hands.
Yep, the fight for the win has returned. Is no longer a one-sided battle, unfortunately. Lazaro still making out with his life, has yet to go down, but we might see that happening very soon if he is not careful, as he has to wait now for the rest of his team to spawn in to make any major moves.
And it's so sad to see because we had such an amazing flank out of Siren in the back line, but the damage, or sorry, the backline health on Ayame was just way too low after getting chunked out by the Corki just a minute before that team fight. It made it basically a 4v5 against us, leading to an instant kill there with the flag and drag, the Cataclysm out of the Jarvan, popping Ayame and forcing Condors to fight a man down.
Yeah, and Baron Nashor has spawned at some point. I've seen that pop up. Whether anyone's going to take it, we'll see. But
yeah, Condors will have to be a little bit more careful in the way that they choose to fight these objectives. They have to have the setup with their frontliners ahead of starting the objective. They have to get the poke off. Siren just doing a little bit of dancing on the Lulu, getting a little bit of chunk off, but it's minimal damage, doesn't really matter. Lopachinski getting really aggressive here, trying to chunk out some more HP, trying to set up this fight ahead of time. Like I said, trying to just take some HP off where they can. You can see the poke, the siege out of the Jace, the W out of the Jinx as well. They're just trying to take away as much health as they can before this fight actually happens.
yeah, I mean, obviously Kansas has just shown us that they are not ready to lose any more fights.
And they're pulling the trigger on Siren, dropping all their spells on, and we'll see if the Condors are able to do anything about this. Siren getting dangerously low. He gets popped by Varus. Fusions engage on 3 and a follow-up as well, but there's nobody there. Absolutely no damage from the side of Condors can really get on these targets, despite the Kansas University players getting really, really low. 2 kills go the way of Varus, and it's looking like they're in the driver's seat now. Lopachinski and Lazaro trying to find a new target here, trying to poke people out. They're getting dangerously low. It just takes one spell here to get a kill, but they're not able to find it.
It'll be nice to see a couple more coming out of us, but it's really, you have to play your cards very correctly now, because it is starting to lean over into Kansas's favor, which is what we didn't want. And obviously Kansas all channeling back to their spawn, heading back out. Condors slowly all spawning back in. Siren being our final one that we wait on. 5 seconds for him. It's
scary.
Yeah.
It's looking really scary. This Varus and this Corki are finally hitting their last set of items. They're absolutely massive in the damage department. Siphon just picking up 2-3 Condors every single fight at this point, and he's the man that they need to kill. It's going to be really hard for them to do that as the Baron is sort of getting nuked. It's dropping very, very low here, already half HP. Condors nowhere in sight. No steal attempt possibility, unfortunately. Jinx Rocket tried. It was a good attempt there, but not able to secure it. Fusion looking for an engage, very odd. Lazaro TPing in, and they're trying to catch Kansas out, trying to force them to basically back off from this mid wave. They're going to try to turn that into a turret as best they can, kind of anchor them into their base, but not a lot can be done here. They're trying to force some stalls, but Fusion getting engaged on. Cataclysm coming out of the Jarvan. That's an ultimate for free for the side of the Condors. But Lopachinski biting off a little bit too much. He has to blow his flash in return, and Fusion perhaps losing a ton of his HP as well. Condors doing a great job at keeping Kansas stuck, preventing them from getting back in their base. Still being really annoying, stopping these guys from recalling. That way the Condors on the flip side in the mid lane can take an inhibitor. Great play there considering how far down they were.
Yeah, they really have started turning it back around into their favor opposed to Kansas's, but they've got to still be so careful. It was a great, whoever called that, great call, but it's an uphill battle right now.
Yeah, honestly, it can go any way. Like both of these teams right now are in a knockout punch. It just takes one big pump and it's over ahead of this final Drake. We'll see how it goes with Kansas having the Baron right now. They have all the pressure pushing these waves. We'll see what happens here with Lazaro. A little bit too far up for my liking. And Kansas looking to cause some threat here. They get Fusion with the Varus ultimate, and Ayame stepping up a little bit too much. He gets chunked out by Hashiwa's Corki, dropping to 50% HP. And once again, we're getting flashbacks to the last fight. Actually, Condors almost flipping that back on Wadek, but he ends up getting out. And Jabu looking for Lopachinski, and again, neither team able to really do anything in this fight.
Yeah, a couple of, big damages going out, but for
big
the most
engage
part,
coming out. Fusion dropping his ultimate, Siren off the top rope. We'll see Wadek get a cage on every single Condor, and they're all going down in the back line. Siphon's tearing everybody apart, and it's Reset City. All the attack speed in the world, all the kills on Siphon, shutting down the Condors, and they'll be walking it down mid lane, ending the game. It was so close, Willow, but in the end, Kansas comes out on top.
What a way to turn it around on the Condors, who started getting a little too comfortable in what they're capable of doing so far in this map. I mean, they really started turning around, making it their game, and then Kansas just went, I don't think so. I want this win, and they are showing us exactly how to turn it around on your opponents.
And that is GG Kansas University taking the series 2-1 off of a flashback fight. We saw it in the previous Drake where they catch somebody out of position, taking half the health bar away before it even begins, and just finding themselves in a favorable position overall for the team fight once again. Condors just not able to get on top of Siphon, and he's able to just free fire, raining arrows all over our team. And it's a really tough loss, but that was an amazing game from the Condors. Very great series, back and forth. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, really, it was. I think that was the best that we have seen these boys play this semester, I would say.
Yeah, it was a great effort overall. Couple of mistakes here and there, but nothing that can't be cleaned up with a little bit of extra practice. You know, the boys feeling probably really disheartened now. They had a really great opportunity there to win the game, but they just came up shy in the end.
Just a little bit. A couple of, misplays, misvisions going on. Kansas really working their way back, clawing their way back to the top, and then absolutely just dominating in the last couple minutes.
You got to give them praise, honestly. After that game 1 situation where it's like, hey, we basically just got stomped, then they reversed the stomp, and then again, another back and forth. It looked like it was going to be a Condor stomp, but then they flipped the script once again. They're just like, no, we are not losing this game. We're going to do everything we can, and absolutely props to them. They played really well. Honestly, considering how that game was going, their draft finally got into execution where they're able to lock down the Condors, have these free-firing backliners in the Corki, in the Varus, able to do their job, and just melt our tanks like butter.
Oh, it was, yeah, they were just cooking us at that point. We became a whole meal for them, just wiping us and then going straight into our spawn. It was lovely to watch as a viewer, but unfortunate to watch as a Condor. So it just happens.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but we're going to cut to a quick interview with Lopachinski, our jungler, to see... Oh, sorry. We're going to cut to a break for the interview ahead of Lopachinski, see how he's feeling about that series. Despite it being a loss, again, absolutely great effort from his part and the team's part. Very well played series overall, and it just came down to that last fight.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it happened. So we'll see you at the interview after the break.
Condors Esports is innovating intercollegiate gaming in Ontario and beyond. We've built a community where you can compete, play, and work in a dynamic program accessible from all campuses.
Condors Esports is more than just gaming. Here, you'll find empowerment and inspiration in state-of-the-art facilities equipped with the latest technologies and unwavering support.
We are varsity athletes, turning victories into championships as high-performing gamers.
We are relentless, constantly pushing our limits and pursuing excellence through every match.
We are Condors. Gaming connects us on campus or online, all through best-in-class equipment.
We're building a foundation of experience, powered by our passion, in developing skills that drive personal and professional success.
We are eager students, transforming our dreams into careers in dynamic and emerging industries.
Condors Esports goes beyond gaming, fostering enduring friendships, unforgettable experiences, and meaningful connections.
This is your chance to transform your passion for video games, esports, and technology into something impactful. Learn how Conestoga is introducing Condors Esports to your campus and connect with fellow Condors striving to soar.
We are Condors.
Good luck today. Thanks, man.
How I'm loving life these days. I see it falling into place. It's coming together. I don't even need to chase it. You see it. time, right place. How I'm loving life these days. It's the right time, right place. How I'm loving life these days.
Welcome to the interview. We have kind of navigated our way over here. I got Lopaczynski over here with no shoes on, believe it or not. You can't see it, but he's got socks.
No shoes. I play without shoes.
Really?
Yep.
Is that like a meta?
Yeah, maybe it's the league meta. I don't know. It's definitely what I do for comfort. So.
I mean, hey, that last map was pretty terrific, although you lost it, unfortunately.
It's close, yeah.
I mean, you and Lazaro kind of, wanted criminals for the most part.
Yeah.
Big bounties on your heads.
Yeah.
How did you feel just overall of the game, and then especially that last map?
Yeah, overall, I think it went pretty well. We have a lot of growing pains together. We made a lot of changes as a team. So, we feel like our past few series have been getting better. It's a long learning process. That game, particularly hard to execute comp with poke comp, Nidalee, Jace. We're just trying to poke them down, not really hard engaging. The enemy didn't have to do as much. They just had to go. So it's kind of that balance. We're trying to poke, but not get engaged on. They're trying to full engage on us. Tough to end that way, but, we feel good about the game overall.
That's good. Map 1 was just Condors
Yeah.
purely dominating, absolutely smacking them around, doing what you do best. And then map 2 we've seen quite a 180. What do you think went wrong going into that?
The second game, I think there was a few unfortunate deaths at bad times. Maybe there was some mid-game mistakes that kind of led to a quick snowball. I don't know, the third game was so long, the second game's kind of a blur for me. I don't exactly remember what happened, but I remember there was maybe a few untimely deaths.
Yeah. And then, map 3. Yuri and I were absolutely losing our minds over there, especially Yuri. Yuri understands the game, so he was kind of just like, oh my goodness. The engagements were wild. How do you plan for such gigantic team battles?
Yeah, we talked beforehand about how we're going to win, how the enemy's going to win. We definitely had a path to victory that game. That was a, long game, contested game. Maybe that last team fight, if we played a little bit slower, we probably would have gotten the Dragon. The Jarvan was already very low HP. It's tough. Tough to play those comps. Those are high skill ceiling compositions. So, we're okay with our effort today, though.
That's good. Are you any plans going forward for, next week, next game?
No, we just take it game by game, through scrims. We're just trying to figure out, our issues. A lot of it is like setting realistic expectations. We've had a lot of changes, trying to just adapt every week. That's what I'll say for the most part.
Pretty good. Well, I appreciate you actually, even though it was a loss, you guys played really well. So thanks for actually sitting here and standing here and talking to me. I will tell you guys that tomorrow, amazing. We're going against a super strong team, but it's going to be a whole stream to watch. I'll be back tomorrow. So seriously, tomorrow, 8:30, COD Varsity. We will see you then.